Chapter 802. The host's name was Boomeng. However, this child looked very cute, so she was named Boomeng. It was a strange contrast. Boomeng was an orphan who grew up in a Taoist temple. In today's society, there were very few people who studied metaphysics and it was declining. However, the Taoist temple where Boomeng was from still had some real masters. Boomeng's master was one of them. Boomeng had been studying with her master since she was young, but she was probably not good at metaphysics, and had always been a dabbler. Her master eventually gave up. Everyone in the Taoist temple knew that Boomeng was a jinx. What she said didn't come true, but what she said didn't. The other children in the Taoist temple didn't want to play with Boomeng, for fear that she would say bad things happen to them. Therefore, the originally cheerful child became less and less talkative. In the end, they only communicated with words. Boomeng's master couldn't bear it. Coincidentally, Boomeng was about to enter junior high school, so he brought her to the city and asked his friend to help take care of her. This friend was her manager, and he often left early and returned late. One day, the manager saw Boomeng's lyrics and felt that she was very talented. He asked her if she wanted to learn music. Boomeng didn't like to talk, but it didn't mean that she didn't like to communicate with others. Lyrics allowed her to write her own thoughts, so she was very willing to learn. The manager asked Boomeng's master, and got his permission to send Boomeng to a music school. Boomeng was indeed very talented in this aspect. She had written songs for some people in private, but not everyone could sing her lyrics. Those who could sing them would definitely become popular. Many people in the music industry had heard of her, but no one had ever seen her. All her communication was done online. Even the manager who took care of her didn't know. Originally, she wouldn't have any trouble, but Boomeng still encountered trouble. However, it wasn't the female lead but the supporting female lead, Yin Baobao. Yin Baobao was Boomeng's senior sister. She was good-looking, had a good family background, and had a strong background. In this novel, she played the role of an evil supporting female lead, adding to the relationship between the male and female lead. However, Yin Baobao was seen through. The person who saw through Yin Baobao was a reader who had read the novel. Yin Baobao had read the novel and knew Boomeng's identity. She tried all kinds of ways to get close to her. She knew the reason why Yin Baobao couldn't speak, so she stayed by Boomeng's side as a caring sister. Boomeng gradually, Yin Baobao accepted and relied on Yin Baobao. Yin Baobao got close to Boomeng for a reason. She coaxed Boomeng into writing a lot of songs for her. Then, she used these songs to get close to the male lead, Enchun. When Enchun sang these songs, Boomeng knew that she had been deceived. She went to look for Yin Baobao. However, at that time, Yin Baobao was already together with Enchun. The two of them were always together, and were the envy of everyone in the circle. One was a beautiful new lyricist, and the other was a famous prince of love songs. Their backgrounds were also very compatible. No matter how one looked at it, they were a match made in heaven. In order to protect her image in front of Enchun, Yin Baobao went to Boomeng in private, and asked her not to spread rumors. She also complained that she really had no choice. Boomeng's heart softened. She promised Yin Baobao that she wouldn't tell anyone. But she couldn't use her works anymore. Yin Baobao agreed on the surface, but when Enchun needed a new song, Yin Baobao still gave him the lyrics she had stolen from Boomeng. This song had a special meaning to Boomeng. She had never thought of finding someone to sing it for her. When she heard Enchun sing it, Boomeng was furious. She went to Yin Baobao and said that she wanted to sue her. Yin Baobao was probably really afraid that Boomeng would sue her. But she was even more afraid that Enchun would find out the truth. Therefore, she secretly found someone to catch Boomeng, and take a video of her being raped. She threatened that if Boomeng dared to tell anyone, she would post the video online. Boomeng didn't dare to tell anyone about this. Yin Baobao used this to threaten Boomeng to write songs for her. Yin Baobao became more and more famous. She replaced Boomeng's name, and was doing very well in the circle. Yin Baobao had something on Boomeng, so Boomeng didn't dare to say anything. Yin Baobao also needed more and more songs. Writing songs also required inspiration. Boomeng couldn't write so many songs. In the end, Boomeng was driven crazy. She said online that she had written those songs, but no one believed her. Even her manager didn't believe her. He thought that she had a mental problem and needed treatment. When no one believed her, Meng chose to end her own life. Meng died, and Yin Baobao even released the video to defame Meng. Yin Baobao was still the supporting female character in this novel. In the end, her actions would be exposed, and the male lead would still be with the female lead. Of course, Meng didn't know this. Meng's last wish was to expose Yin Baobao's true colors and let her receive the punishment she deserved. She came here when Yin Baobao kidnapped Meng. Shisheng looked at the camera in the room. The camera was on, but it was facing the woman on the ground. Shisheng only took a glance before looking away. The original owner of the body was a jinx. Shisheng looked at the two men tied together and suddenly said, "You will be arrested by the police." The two men were speechless. Just 3 minutes later, they heard the sound of police sirens. Damn, that was amazing. They didn't even have to take out their swords. The police came up very quickly, but they were a little stunned when they saw the scene in the room. What was going on? Shisheng sat on the only stool in the room. He crossed his legs and leisurely propped his chin up as he watched them break in. There was a woman lying on the ground, and they didn't know if she was dead or alive. The two men's semen still lingered in her body, so they couldn't deny it. They really didn't know who hired them. They only had photos, and they didn't even know Shisheng's name. Shisheng was a victim. Even if she was a strange victim, it couldn't erase the fact that she was a victim. Hence, she was quickly released after she went to the police station to record her statement. Hong Dui, that camera has been tampered with. As soon as Shisheng left, someone rushed over to look for Hong Dui, who was recording Shisheng's statement. Has it been touched by someone? Hong Dui silently asked what it meant. One of the videos has been deleted by someone. Can it be recovered? That person shook his head. No. What's the deleted part? It should be the scene of the young lady subduing the evil men. But looking at the position of the camera, it didn't capture much. Previously, when they were interrogating the two men, they didn't say a word about how they were subdued by a young lady. They even looked scared. He looked at the young lady. She was quite a cute young lady. Even if she knew a little taekwondo, she didn't have to be so scared. Hong Dui frowned slightly. Got it. The rest of the evidence is enough to convict them. Asterisk votes please. Votes please. Chapter 803. Shisheng came out of the police station and walked to her place, deep in thought. Meng's ability should be the power of speech. He just didn't know who it would work on. Shisheng decided to give it a try. It was already past 9 o'clock in the morning. She found a square and squatted there. She cursed whoever she didn't like. For example, she would fall, lose her wallet, or get beaten up. But some worked and some didn't. Shisheng tested those who didn't look like good people. Almost all of them worked. However, those who looked very kind or children didn't work. Among the people in her experiments, most of them were innocent children who didn't work. Even those who appeared to be good people didn't work. Shisheng tested for a long time and came to a conclusion. This thing only worked on bad people. It didn't work on good people. It was like a machine that could distinguish good from bad. Shisheng did another blessing test on those who didn't work before. It turned out that it worked. Maybe it didn't work even if it was a little dirty. She was a fraud. My Meng is amazing. How could she not use such a good skill? How stupid. Shisheng finished the experiment and was about to leave. As soon as he stood up, he felt dizzy and fell into the pool next to him. With a splash, he fell into the pool, splashing water all over the ground. What happened to saving the damsel in distress? Why was I so unlucky? Asterisk flips table asterisk. Hearing the noise, the people in the square all looked over. Some people came to help Shisheng out. Shisheng's entire being was filled with rejection. Her head hurt, her eyelids were heavy, and she was so sleepy. Seeing that she wasn't in a good state, someone suggested sending her to the hospital. However, most people just looked on coldly. Shisheng was sent to the hospital in the end. The person who sent her there was a middle-aged woman who could bless her in the previous test. She deliberately waited for Shisheng to wake up. I've called your uncle. He'll be here soon. Seeing Shisheng looking around, the middle-aged woman said softly, You're so young. How can you be so tired? Take care of your body. Don't think that you can exhaust your body just because you're young. Tired? Shisheng rubbed between her eyebrows. It must be because she overused the power of speech. It seemed that there were still restrictions. The uncle that the middle-aged woman called Yusheng was the manager that took care of the original owner. Yusheng came very quickly. He looked normal, but he had a long life, so he should not have done anything bad. Of course, Shisheng didn't know how to read people's faces. It was just that the original owner had these memories. Yusheng thanked the middle-aged woman and paid the medical fees that she had helped to pay before personally sending her out. Why aren't you in school? Yusheng still looked a little tired, but he still asked with concern. Have you been too tired from studying recently? Shisheng shook his head. She brought it on herself. Yusheng was used to the original owner not speaking, so he didn't say anything else. He just gave her a few instructions. After asking the doctor if there was anything serious, he started to work on the phone. Yusheng answered several calls. Something must have happened. He turned to Shisheng and said, have a good rest. Uncle has called a nurse for you. If there's anything, just tell the nurse. Uncle will come to see you later. Shisheng nodded again. Yusheng was a little worried, but the phone kept ringing, so he still left. Shisheng's body was fine, but she had overexerted herself. She had to lie in the hospital for 3 days before she slowly recovered. When she was discharged, Yusheng sent her a text saying that he would come to pick her up. Shisheng directly rejected him. Yusheng was probably really busy. After confirming that Shisheng did not want to pick her up, he told her to go home and report that she was safe. Yusheng had several artists under him. Sometimes, when he was busy, he could not be seen for a month. Shisheng left the hospital and prepared to take a taxi home. Only when he touched his pocket did he realize that he could only take the bus. The original owner was taken away without anything except for the 5 yuan that she had stuffed in her trouser pocket at some point in time. If he wanted to take the bus, he would take the bus. Shisheng looked at the bus stop and got on the bus. It was not rush hour, so there were not many people. Shisheng found a seat and sat down. The bus was moving and stopping, and the empty bus was actually packed with people, one next to another. Just as Shisheng was about to reach the bus stop, he suddenly heard arguing in front of him. Then someone screamed that there was a murder. The bus came to an emergency stop. The screeching sound of the brakes resounded through the entire lane. The people on the bus fell forward. It was chaos. Shisheng supported himself to steady himself. There were too many people in front of him, so he could not see what was going on. Indistinct screams and the cries of children could be heard, as well as the dissatisfied grumbling of people. It was very noisy when mixed together. Shisheng stood on his seat and looked forward. A man wearing a mask was holding a 7 or 8-year-old child hostage. There was a woman lying at his feet. Blood was seeping out of her abdomen. Shisheng, what kind of development was this? The people on the bus did not dare to get close to the man. They all retreated and tried to calm the man down. However, the effect was not good. Back off, all of you back off, or I will kill her. The man grabbed the child's neck tightly. The child's face was blue. He held a dagger in his other hand and pointed it at the people around him. The people did not dare to provoke the man, so they could only back off. Child. The woman on the ground was not dead. She reached out to the child weakly. She looked at the people around her with her eyes covered. Save my child, save my child. Open the door and let them out. The man ignored the woman's pleas and shouted at the driver. The driver was also frightened. He pressed the button to open the door with trembling hands. It took him a few tries to open the door. As soon as the door opened, the people in the bus rushed out. Who would want to stay in the same bus as a murderer? Shisheng was sitting at the back. When the people were almost out of the bus, he stood up slowly. Hurry up, the man urged. His voice was rough and trembling. It was not clear whether he was afraid or anxious. When Shisheng got to the door, he saw the woman on the ground. It was the woman who had sent him to the hospital a few days ago. He was about to get out of the bus when he stopped at the door. What do you want? Get out. The man tightened his grip. The child's face was red. Why is she still not coming down? Are young ladies nowadays so bold? Hurry up and get out. That's a murderer. Call the police. Have you called the police? Aya, the child is dying. The people outside the bus stood far away in disgust. The scene was very chaotic. Shisheng smiled. His light pink lips parted slightly. Go to hell. The veins on the man's forehead bulged. What did you say? Shisheng repeated word by word. I told you to go to hell. The man was about to say something when a shadow suddenly came from afar. The anger in his eyes turned into fear. He subconsciously let go of the child and ran out of the bus. Bang! The scene was eerily silent. It was as if the entire space had stopped. Asterisk daily text block. Hashtag today's almond-flavored votes. Hashtag goodnight. Touch you guys monthly votes. Monthly votes. The last few days. Send me to the rankings. Chapter 804. A truck appeared out of nowhere and crashed into the bus. The bus skidded for a distance and was severely deformed. After a strange silence, the bus became noisy again. Many brave people ran toward the bus. The door of the bus was closed and couldn't be opened. They could only climb in through the window to save the girl. Inside the bus, Shisheng let go of the child and checked her arm. A piece of glass was stuck in it and blood kept seeping out. Soon her clothes were dyed red. The criminal was lying on the seat and didn't move. She didn't know if he was dead or alive. Before Shisheng could go forward to check, she was taken out by the people who came in. The police and ambulance arrived late. The woman and the criminal were sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. Shisheng didn't want to go to the hospital and asked the doctor to bandage her wound. Her wound wasn't deep, so the doctor didn't say anything. Hello. It's you? Hong Dui was looking for the victim, but when he saw Shisheng, his mouth twitched. Didn't this girl just leave the police station? Shisheng looked down at her arm that was wrapped like a dumpling and didn't look at Hong Dui. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Hong Dui covered his mouth with his hand and cleared his throat. Miss Bu, I want to ask you a few questions. I hope you can cooperate. I don't know him. I'm in a good mood for helping others. Shisheng spat out a few words without looking up. Hong Dui was dumbfounded. What the hell was this? It took him a while to realize that she was answering the question he was about to ask. She knew the routine. Hong Dui asked a few questions. Shisheng's answers were very simple and didn't make any mistakes. Leave your contact number. If there's anything, the police can contact you, Hong Dui said. Shisheng left the original owner's phone number. She walked a few steps and turned back. She looked at Hong Dui seriously. Can you send me back? I don't have any money. Hong Dui was speechless. Hong Dui asked someone to send Shisheng home. Hong Dui, look at this. A police officer rushed over and handed a laptop to Hong Dui. The computer was playing the surveillance video of the bus. Most of the people on the bus had gotten off, and the cute girl slowly walked to the door. She was about to go down, but just as she was about to lift her foot, she saw the woman on the ground and changed her mind. However, all he heard was go to hell. Then a truck crashed into the bus. Captain Hong, this young lady is really strange. As soon as she finished speaking, the truck crashed into her. Hong Dui repeatedly checked the short video. What's going on with the truck? The police officer quickly replied. He was driving when he was tired. He mistook the brake for the accelerator when he turned the corner and rushed over. There's nothing suspicious about it. If it weren't for the fact that the criminal had stabbed the knife into his abdomen due to the collision, this young lady would have been the prime suspect. It's just a coincidence. Don't make wild guesses. When Hong Dui said this, he frowned. Was it really a coincidence? The case was closed very quickly. The culprit was a wanted serial killer who had caused a lot of commotion recently. The woman recognized him, and that was why the scene on the bus happened. The woman didn't die, but her injuries were quite serious. She could recover with some rest. The criminal didn't die either. The knife didn't stab into his vital parts, so he was still alive. However, the murder case he had committed was enough to get him a life sentence. Shisheng turned off the TV and rubbed his chin, deep in thought. It seemed that words couldn't kill people directly. Even the most vicious people couldn't. That made sense. If words could kill people, wouldn't she be invincible? Shisheng felt that this skill needed to be explored. Maybe she could become a psychic? Sheng went into the original owner's room and searched for her computer. He opened the web page and searched for Chun. All kinds of information popped up. Chun was indeed good-looking. He was sunny and handsome with a little arrogance. He was the most popular image nowadays. The most popular one was Chun's new song, Time and You. He clicked on the play button. Chun's voice was a little deep and magnetic. He sang love songs very well. But this song, it was a little old-fashioned and needed a clearer and more ethereal voice to sing. Chun's singing ruined it. Chun was famous. Although this song was popular, it wasn't popular enough to be a household name. Sheng rested his chin on his hand and tapped on the keyboard. Yin Baobao took the original manuscript. She couldn't sue Yin Baobao even if she wanted to. Did she have to steal it back? Sheng tried to find the original owner's inspiration for this song. But she found nothing. It happened again. Damn it. She was tricked again. Time and You. The song sounded like it was about love, but the lyrics weren't. This song had nothing to do with love. Ring ring ring. The phone in the living room rang and interrupted Sheng's thoughts. She glanced at the living room. Who was calling at this time? Sheng got up and walked to the living room. He picked up the phone. Before he spoke, the person on the other end of the line started talking. Brother Yu, bad news. Brother Xia is fighting with someone at the Tonight Club. Come quickly. It was very noisy on the other end. The person speaking was very anxious and spoke very quickly. After a while he didn't hear a response. He called out anxiously, Brother Yu. My uncle isn't here, Sheng said calmly. Uncle? The person on the other end of the line didn't react. After a while he said, Are you little Guai? In the past, the original owner never spoke, let alone answered the phone. The person on the other end of the line was naturally surprised. What the hell was little Guai? Sheng took a while to remember that the people around Sheng liked to call her that. They said she was cute and obedient. Yes. Oh. The person on the other end of the line suddenly exclaimed. But it wasn't because of Sheng's words. It was because the fight had affected him. The phone was filled with noise. There were all kinds of cursing and shouting. Sheng listened for a while. The person on the other end didn't say anything. She hung up. She thought for a while and called Sheng. But Sheng's phone was turned off. No wonder the call came to her house. Sheng called Sheng's company. The company receptionist said that Sheng wasn't in the company. He was on a plane to deal with an artist's emergency. Sheng had just hung up when the person on the other end of the line called again. Little Guai, do you know where Brother Yu is? Is he at home? If he is, ask Brother Yu to come quickly. Otherwise, someone will die. Stop calling. Little Guai, can you hear me? Sheng said calmly. Uncle is on a business trip. He's on a plane. The person on the other end of the line exclaimed. What? Business trip? At this time? It's over. He muttered a few words. Sheng only heard a bang, and then the line went dead. Sheng shrugged innocently. Chapter 805. Sheng hung up the phone and went back to her room to listen to music. She did not have the habit of meddling in other people's business. Sheng didn't know when she fell asleep as she listened. The doorbell suddenly rang, waking her up. She looked at the computer in a daze. She rubbed her hair and went to open the door. A bespectacled man was supporting a drunk man. Seeing the door open, the bespectacled man heaved a sigh of relief. Xiao Guai, it's great that you're home. Sheng. She remembered this voice. It was the voice of the person who had called to say that something had happened. It seemed to be Sheng's assistant. His surname was Feng, but the original owner did not know his name. She only heard Sheng call him Assistant Feng. Brother Yu asked me to send Brother Xia here to hide. He will deal with him when he comes back. Xiao Guai, let me in first. Assistant Feng was a little out of breath. He looked very disheveled and there were bloodstains on his body. Sheng frowned. She took out her phone and called Sheng. Sheng picked up quickly. Xiao Guai, is Assistant Feng here? Let them in first. If you're not used to it, Assistant Feng can send you back to school. Got it, Sheng answered softly. Before Sheng could respond, Shisheng had already hung up the phone and let the two men in. The man who was supported by assistant Feng had a strong smell of alcohol on him, but there was also a scent that she was familiar with. Shisheng frowned. She reached out to support the man and helped him to the sofa. The moment she touched the man, the weak scent immediately became stronger. Shisheng narrowed her eyes. Who hit him? Brother Xia got into a fight with someone. Those guys have already run away. But I'm afraid that the paparazzi will take pictures. Tomorrow. Assistant Feng shook his head. It was over. It was really over. Assistant Feng's tone changed. Xiao Guai, I have to deal with something over there. Go back to your room. Don't worry about him. Shisheng nodded slightly. Assistant Feng left in a hurry. Shisheng stared at the unconscious man on the sofa and felt a headache coming on. He was so King miserable again. What happened to being the big boss? You're actually the female lead, right? Shisheng sighed and went to the bathroom to get a clean towel. He reeked of alcohol and blood. Shisheng turned him over so that he could lie more comfortably. His hair was a little long and covered his eyebrows and eyes. Shisheng brushed his hair aside, revealing a handsome face. This face, the host was no stranger to it. Xiaoling. 2 years ago, he was the face of the popular group Glitter. But now the group no longer exists. Ever since the group disbanded, Xiaoling's anti-fans could almost circle the earth a few times. There were people on the internet who dissed him every day. As for the dazzling combination, among them was the male lead, and Chun. After the group disbanded, Xiaoling was slandered to the point that she was useless. However, and Chun was extremely popular. This time, even more people started to slander Xiaoling. They felt that Xiaoling had been a burden to Chun in the past. Shisheng wanted to change Xiaoling's clothes, but someone grabbed his hand the moment he stretched it out. Xiaoling, who had her eyes closed just now, had opened her eyes. Her eyes were a little cold, like the surface of a frozen lake. However, there was also a hint of stubbornness in her eyes. She stared at Shisheng for a moment, and suddenly flung her hand away. Get lost. Shisheng. My CI is amazing. She even dared to yell at I. Did she think that I was willing to serve her? Shisheng threw the towel down and got up to walk into the room. As soon as she took a step, someone grabbed her wrist and pulled her onto the sofa. The man reeked of alcohol and blood. Don't leave me. Xiaoling buried her head in Shisheng's neck. Her voice was very soft, and she sounded a little tired. Don't leave me. Shisheng. Didn't you tell I to get lost? You're going to get beaten up for being so fickle. After hugging for a while, Xiaoling raised her head in confusion and held Shisheng's face. Who are you? There was obvious drunkenness in his eyes. He was King drunk. Me? I'm your girlfriend. Have you forgotten? Shisheng saved his face. Why? You don't want to take responsibility anymore? Xiaoling shook her head. No, I don't have a girlfriend. Women are troublesome. Then he asked again. Are you really my girlfriend? The drunkenness in his eyes became more obvious. Without waiting for Shisheng to answer, he continued to answer his own question. I don't have a girlfriend. You're not. He suddenly pushed Shisheng away. Shisheng almost knocked into the coffee table beside him. She sat on the floor, probably laughing out of anger. Xiaoling propped herself up and staggered to the floor. She looked around. Where's the toilet? I want to go to the toilet. Shisheng wanted to strangle her. She calmed herself down and got up from the floor. She pointed to the side. Over there. Xiaoling walked in the direction Shisheng pointed. When she passed by Shisheng, she suddenly hooked her arm around Shisheng's neck and blew a breath of alcohol on Shisheng's face. Let's go together. I like the smell of you. Who the hell wants to go to the toilet with you? Xiaoling did not give Shisheng a chance. He forcefully dragged Shisheng into the toilet. Shisheng wanted to strangle her even more now. Xiaoling leaned against the door and pulled at his pants with all his might. However, he could not pull them off after a long time. His face was slightly red as he looked helplessly at Shisheng. Help me. Shisheng. If it weren't for the fact that you're Feng Ci, I would have beaten you up long ago. Shisheng went forward and helped him undo his pants. Thank you. Xiaoling walked towards the urinal. Shisheng was really afraid that he would fall from his wobbly posture. Fortunately, he did not. After Xiaoling finished his major life event, he did not even look at Shisheng and walked out of the toilet as if he was sleepwalking. When Shisheng went out, Xiaoling had already fallen asleep on the sofa. Xiaoling opened his heavy eyelids and stared at the white ceiling for a long time without moving. After a long while, he reached out and rubbed his forehead. The hangover made his head hurt, and his body hurt even more. It was as if he had been beaten up. Xiaoling felt that something was wrong under the blanket. He lifted the blanket to take a look, then put it back down. 3 seconds later, he looked under the blanket again. His face, which was originally flushed, immediately darkened. He was naked. Naked? What did he do when he was drunk last night? No, what did someone do to him when he was drunk last night? Xiaoling looked around. He did not recognize this room. It was not a hotel room. What was this place? Click. Xiaoling heard the door open. He quickly wrapped the blanket around himself and looked at the door. A girl with a baby face walked in. Who are you? Oh, did you lose your memory? Shisheng slammed the door shut with a mischievous smile on his face. Last night, you were still calling me your little darling. How did you forget about me when you woke up? Xiaoling felt as if he had been struck by lightning. After a long while, he said in a trembling voice, "Why would I like a woman like you?" Asterisk Xiaoling was going to be beaten up? Ha ha ha. Chapter 806. Yuxing only started lecturing Xiaoling after confirming that Shisheng was fine. Xiaoling didn't seem to have any intention of repentance at all, as Yusheng's lecturing went in one ear and out the other. See for yourself. Yuxing suddenly took out his phone, opened the entertainment news and threw it at Xiaoling. Look at what you've done. Xiaoling looked at the phone and said nonchalantly, "It's not my first time anyway. It doesn't matter if I do it one more time or one less time." Xiaoling. Yuxing was furious. Do you still want to be in this industry? Look at what you've become. Yuxing was Xiaoling's manager when he was popular. He had watched him from his glory days to his downfall. Xiaoling remained silent. Suddenly he sneered. Should I be like Chun? He got up and walked towards the door. I'm not him. Xiaoling, stop right there. Your apartment is full of paparazzi. Where do you think you're going? Xiaoling ignored Shisheng's angry roar and walked out. He closed the door and saw the girl who said she was going to school. She was leaning against the wall and looking at him. The faint smile on her face dissipated the frustration in Xiaoling's heart. He still said fiercely, Aren't you going to school? School is not as important as you. Xiaoling snorted. She had betrayed him just now. Xiaoling walked towards the stairs. Shisheng looked at the elevator. This was the 15th floor. Why didn't he take the elevator? Xiaoling's figure disappeared at the top of the stairs. Shisheng had no choice but to chase after him. Wait for me. The stairs were very quiet. Xiaoling walked very slowly with one hand in his pocket. Shisheng caught up to him in a few steps and reached out to grab his other hand that was hanging by his side. Xiaoling glanced at her and wanted to shake her hand off. But when he saw the smile on her face, he suddenly couldn't bear to do it. Yes, he couldn't bear to do it. And he couldn't bear to part with her. Are you unhappy? Shisheng tilted his head and asked him. No. Shisheng sneered. You look like someone owes you 8 million yuan. You're still denying it? Xiaoling glared at her. Don't follow me if you want to talk. I won't say. Xiaoling took her to the basement and took out a car key from his trouser pocket. Shisheng's mouth twitched. If she remembered correctly, Yuxing put it on the table when he came back. When did he take it away? Xiaoling drove directly to a bar. He was probably a regular. Even though it was not business hours, the other party still let him in. In a dark corner, Xiaoling drank one glass after another. Shisheng propped up his chin and looked at him, not intending to stop him. Do you want a drink? Xiaoling suddenly passed the wine glass to Shisheng. Shisheng took it and took a sip. It didn't taste good, so she returned it to Xiaoling. It's useless. Xiaoling sneered and drank the wine in Shisheng's glass. He didn't dislike her. Xiaoling was so frightened by this thought that she drank a few more cups. He actually didn't hate this girl. Xiao Ling stayed in the bar until business hours. More and more people came in. Sheng was shocked by Xiao Ling's ferocious drinking style. Sheng sat down. Mr. Xia, if you continue drinking like this, I will sleep with you tonight. Xiao Ling's hand paused. He lowered his eyes, his long eyelashes hiding his emotions. Do you like me that much? Yes, I like you very much. Xiao Ling clenched his fists and drank the wine in his glass again. He said sarcastically, You don't know who I am. How can you like me? You don't know who I am either. Sheng's voice was drowned out by the deafening music. She propped up her chin and continued to watch Xiao Ling drink. She decided that she would sleep with him tonight. He was hers anyway. She would sleep with him sooner or later. Song Imo, what are you doing here? It's none of your business. Song Imo, come with me. Let go of me. The quarrel came from beside Sheng. He turned to look at the two people who were pulling each other. One of them was wearing a mask. The girl who was being pulled was trying to break free from the man. Song Imo, stop fooling around. The man dragged the girl out of the bar. Just as Sheng retracted his gaze, Xiao Ling suddenly stood up and followed the two men out of the bar. Outside the bar, the girl hugged a pillar and refused to let go. The people who were entering and leaving looked at her strangely. Who are you to control me? I'm not going with you. Song Imo. The man seemed to be exasperated. He reached out to pull the girl's hand away. Let's go back and talk. Don't make a scene here. Xiao Ling didn't go forward. He stood at the door and watched. Song Imo was the female lead's name. The man with the mask must be the male lead. Why were the two of them pulling each other here? Wasn't the male lead with Yin Baobao at this time? Sheng had just thought of Yin Baobao when he saw a woman dressed flamboyantly in high heels running over. And Chen, why are you here? Song Imo? Yin Baobao looked at the woman who was hugging the pillar in surprise. Song Imo took the opportunity to break free from Chen and took a few steps back. Slap. Song Imo was a little stunned by the slap. She took a while to react and looked at Chen with red eyes. Chen was pulling Yin Baobao. Baobao, what are you doing? Is she still pestering you? Yin Baobao pointed at Song Imo. Song Imo, how can you be so shameless? I'm still here and you're seducing Brother Chen. I'm not. Song Imo gritted her teeth. She didn't pester Chen. He came to her himself. You're still lying. Yin Baobao raised her hand to hit Song Imo again. Just as the slap was about to land on Song Mo's face, a hand suddenly appeared and grabbed her wrist. When Yin Baobao saw the person who stopped her, her expression cracked and she panicked. Why was she here? Ever since she got someone to kidnap her, there had been no news. She had been on tenterhooks these days. Who knew that she would see her here? Xiaoming, why are you here? Yin Baobao smiled like a big sister. You haven't been coming to class recently. Are you not feeling well? Yin Baobao observed Sheng's expression. She shouldn't know about that. I'm in good health. Senior, are you disappointed? Sheng let go of Yin Baobao's hand and smiled faintly. Xiaoming, what are you talking about? Of course Yin Baobao looked hurt. The next second she said in surprise, You spoke? Is there anything strange about me speaking? Or do you not want me to speak? Aren't you silent? Yin Baobao's heart was in a mess. What if she told her about that? She wasn't afraid when she didn't speak before. After all, writing wasn't as easy to explain as speaking. Yin Baobao looked at Chen guiltily. Xiaoming, Brother Chen and I have something to do. We'll talk to you another day. Sheng's lips split into a sinister smile. Be careful on the way back, senior sister. You might run into some misfortune. Yin Baobao felt even more strange. She pulled Chen and left. Chen looked at Song Imo apologetically. Song Imo lowered her head and pretended not to see. Chapter 807. There are so many good men in the world. Why hang on to one tree? You can try the whole forest. Sheng patted Song Imo on the shoulder. Thank you. Song Imo did not know the original host, but if it were not for her, she would have been humiliated by Yin Baobao. Sheng did not like the female lead. After saying this, he went back to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling snorted. Why hang on to a tree like me? Because I like it. Why was this man being so arrogant? Xiaoling glanced at her and went back to the bar to continue drinking. Shisheng was confused. What was this guy doing out there? Taking a break? Xiaoling did not give up until the bar ended in the early hours of the morning. When he left the bar, Shisheng saw Song Mo sitting alone in a corner. Shisheng thought about the plot and suddenly grabbed Xiaoling. Wait for me. Troublesome, Xiaoling said with disdain, but stopped. Shisheng ran to the bar counter, took out some money and asked the waitress to send Song Mo home. The waitress was about to get off work. She could earn more money by sending someone home. So when Chen came back, Song Mo had already left. Xiaoling was drunk, so Shisheng could only drive. Soothing music was playing in the car. Xiaoling was very sober and did not have any intention of getting drunk. No one knew what he was thinking. He curled up in the front passenger seat and looked out at the neon lights flashing by outside. After a long time, Xiaoling turned around and asked faintly, "Do you have a driver's license?" No. The original host did not know how to drive. How could she have a driver's license? "Ha! Are you trying to drag me down with you? Is it not good?" Xiaoling said after a long while. "I don't want to die." Shisheng turned to look at Xiaoling, but Xiaoling was looking out of the window. She could not see his expression. There were paparazzi waiting at Xiaoling's place even in the early hours of the morning. Shisheng did not dare to send him home, so he asked him to stay in the car for the night. Shisheng leaned against the car door. The lights in the distance were flickering in his eyes. Hey! Someone suddenly knocked on the car door. Shisheng blinked, turned around and opened the car door. "Come in." Xiaoling frowned at her. "What are you doing?" Shisheng held onto the car door. The light in the car shone on her face, making her look unusually soft. "Come in," Xiaoling repeated. Shisheng got into the car. Xiaoling did not say anything and just sat there. After a long time he said, "As your girlfriend, let me hug you." Shisheng moved closer to Xiaoling. Xiaoling reached out and pulled her into his arms. Just like that night, he hugged her and buried his head in her neck. He liked the smell on her body very much. It was as if hugging her made him feel less lonely. The corners of Xiaoling's mouth curled up, but she quickly restrained herself. Xiaoling maintained this posture for a long time until Shisheng's phone rang. Shisheng took out her phone and saw the name on the screen. She broke away from Xiaoling, leaned against his shoulder, and answered the call. "Senior." Yin Baobao was actually fine? Had the soul language lost its effect? "Xiaoming, are you free now?" Yin Baobao's voice was gentle. "I have something to talk to you about." "I'm sorry, Senior. It's so late. I'm afraid you're going to kill me for money." What else did she want to meet up in the middle of the night? Yin Baobao's face was contorted with anger, but she had to speak in a gentle tone. "Xiaoming, is there a misunderstanding? Let's meet up. I can explain to you face to face if there's any misunderstanding." "Xiaoming, I don't want this to affect our relationship." "The relationship you're talking about, are you talking about using me?" "Xiaoming, what's wrong?" Yin Baobao exclaimed. "When did I use you? Don't listen to other people's nonsense. Since you've taken someone else's things, you'll have to return them in the end, Senior." Shisheng emphasized the last two words. Before Yin Baobao could say anything, the call was hung up. She dialed back, but there was only a cold tone. Yin Baobao was so angry that she almost smashed her phone. Did she know something? So what if she knew? She had no power or influence. How could she win against her? Yin Baobao calmed down again. She stood up and suddenly staggered. "Damn it." Yin Baobao gasped in pain. She lowered her head and looked at her feet. Her ankle was red and swollen. When she came back just now, someone poured water in the corridor, and she sprained her ankle. Shisheng switched off his phone and put it back in his pocket. Xiaoling rested his chin on her shoulder. The car was very quiet just now. He must have heard everything Yin Baobao said. "What did she use you for?" Shisheng looked expectant. "Are you going to take revenge for me? Don't think too much." Xiaoling let go of her. He paused. "The Yin family is very powerful." "So what?" Shisheng retorted. Xiaoling reached out and lifted Shisheng's chin. His lips curled into a mischievous smile. "You can't win against the Yin family." Shisheng met Xiaoling's eyes and said arrogantly, What if I win? Xiaoling retracted his hand. You have the final say. I can say whatever I want. Shisheng held Xiaoling's arm and whispered into his ear. Even if I have sex with you? Xiaoling leaned back slightly. When the conditions are right, success will come naturally. Don't you think it's bad for you to threaten me like this? You think I'm threatening you. Aren't you? Wasn't she threatening him when she asked him to be her boyfriend? Shisheng sat back down and sneered. Then I'm sorry. I'll threaten you many more times in the future. You have to get used to it. Once you got on Ai's boat, don't even think about getting off. Xiaoling. Why was her reaction a little strange? The two of them did not speak and sat in silence until dawn. Shisheng drove Xiaoling to the hotel and took a taxi to school. Xiaoling lay on the hotel bed for a long time, but he could not fall asleep. He turned on the hotel computer and habitually logged into Weibo. There was still a lot of criticism under the homepage. The hottest news related to him was that he had hit someone. Because of this incident, he gained another wave of anti-fans. Xiaoling opened the search interface and typed in Boomeng. There were a lot of results, but he could not find anything. Xiaoling rested his chin on his hand and thought for a while. He deleted the two words Boomeng and typed in Chenyan. The page immediately jumped. The first one was the verified Weibo. Xiaoling clicked in. Her Weibo was very clean. She had only reposted a few songs and had 0 followers, but she had a lot of fans. Boomeng, Chenyan. Xiaoling did not expect that these two seemingly unrelated people were the same person. Xiaoling followed her. There were more than 100 people in his list of followers, but most of them were added by his previous company. He was definitely the first one to add his own followers. Therefore, after he followed Chenyan's account, the anti-fans immediately went crazy. They dug into Chenyan's account several times. #hashtag today's cumin-flavored votes hashtag Beixinggui. In the book review section on 12/29/2016, double the monthly votes at the end of the month. Cherub, come and send me on the list. Chapter 808. Shisheng saw Yin Baobao at school. She was limping, but she was beautiful. Even when she was limping, she still looked good. Xiaoming. Yin Baobao waved at Shisheng with a smile. Shisheng glanced at Yin Baobao and walked in the other direction. This woman was definitely up to no good. Yin Baobao was unhappy that Shisheng ignored her, but she couldn't show it on her face. She limped after Shisheng and asked with concern. Xiaoming, what's wrong? Shisheng was a little fast, and Yin Baobao struggled to keep up. Xiaoming, wait for me. Xiaoming. Why are you talking all of a sudden? Shisheng said coldly. I've always been able to talk. Yin Baobao obviously knew that she could talk, but she was asking why she could talk all of a sudden. Yin Baobao didn't know the exact reason why the original owner didn't talk. It only said that she could talk, but for some reason, she didn't want to. Xiaoming, you can tell me if there's anything. You're making me uncomfortable. Yin Baobao blocked Shisheng. Shisheng stopped in his tracks and said angrily. You don't need me to remind you of what you've done, do you? Senior. Xiaoming. What are you talking about? Yin Baobao looked innocent. You found someone to kidnap me and even wanted to take nude photos of me? Huh. You're pretty good. Do you think I can be bullied so easily? Yin Baobao's expression changed. She knew. She really knew. Don't panic. Even if she knew, she couldn't do anything to her without evidence. Yin Baobao's eyes turned and she glanced at the students beside her. Just as she was about to reach out to Shisheng, the girl opposite her suddenly said, Senior, I think the lake water suits you very well. What? Yin Baobao was confused. Give it back to me, give it back to me. Hey, be careful. Voila. Everything happened too quickly. Yin Baobao was knocked into the lake before she could react. Shisheng stood on the shore and looked at Yin Baobao, who kept struggling. He smiled evilly. This idiot wanted to trick I. The student who bumped into Yin Baobao hurriedly threw away his bicycle and jumped into the artificial lake to save her. Cough, cough. Yin Baobao drank a few mouthfuls of water and coughed uncomfortably. Her clothes clung tightly to her skin, outlining her perfect figure. The surrounding boys were all excited. Some of them even took out their phones to take pictures. A wet photo of the famous school belle. Een Bao Bao covered her breasts with her hands and shouted angrily at the surrounding boys. What are you looking at? And what are you looking at? Scram. Everyone knew that Een Bao Bao had a backer, so they didn't dare to provoke her. Een Bao Bao then looked at Shisheng and questioned loudly. Bumeng, is this your doing? Senior sister, be reasonable. This senior was the one who overturned his car and hit you. How can you push the blame to me? You called me Xiaomeng when you were using me, but you called me Bumeng when I exposed you. Senior sister, you can't be like this. The senior who flipped over. How could he have known that he would crash into someone and send her into the artificial lake? If it wasn't you, what did you mean by that? Een Bao Bao remembered what she said when she was knocked down. Shisheng shrugged. It's the literal meaning. Senior sister, you're already a university student. Why are you still acting like you haven't graduated from primary school? Een Bao Bao gritted her teeth. Bumeng, this isn't over. Bumeng, you forced me to do this. She knocked away the senior who was blocking her way and quickly ran away. Shisheng shouted from behind. Senior sister, the weather is cold. Don't catch a cold. The senior who flipped over was dumbfounded. What was going on? After class, Shisheng took out his phone to play a game. As soon as he tapped on the screen, he was stunned by a series of notifications. It took him a while to react. He swiped down the menu and saw that it was a notification on Weibo. She hadn't seen the original owner's Weibo before. She clicked on it and saw that it was a verified account. Well, with the original owner's current fame, having a verified account wasn't a big deal. There wasn't much activity on Weibo before. Why was it like crazy today? Shisheng clicked on the messages and saw that most of them were tagging her. Shisheng looked at them for a while before he figured out what was going on from the various scoldings. It turned out that Xiaoling, who had the most anti-fans, was following her. Therefore, she was unjustly implicated and was exposed by the anti-fans. Her fans couldn't stand it and started to fight. Shisheng found Xiaoling on the list of followers. Qingyan, why are you following me? Do you have a crush on me? Xiaoling was online and replied to her immediately. Xiaoling, little darling, I found out your secret. Qingyan, what secret? Am I Qingyan? What kind of secret is this? Xiaoling, you're hiding it from brother you. Isn't it a secret? Qingyan, alright, forget it. Mr. Xia, do you want me to seal your mouth with my body or be killed by me? Xiaoling, is there a third option? Qingyan, sleep with me. Xiaoling. Other than this, couldn't she be a little more ambitious? Shisheng scrolled through Weibo and found that there were many people who were scolding Xiaoling Qingyan. Do you have all the anti-fans in the world? Xiaoling Tmph. A few seconds after Xiaoling replied, Shisheng saw that he had posted a new Weibo. Xiaoling, I advise you not to go overboard. What I do is my own business. Who do you think you are? Just based on this attitude, I'll definitely become an anti-fan. Shisheng scrolled through Xiaoling's Weibo and found that each of his posts was filled with all kinds of negative comments. It made people want to strangle him. As soon as Xiaoling posted on Weibo, all kinds of anti-fans swarmed in and attacked him. Shisheng had been slandered before, but she had never met someone who had been slandering her as much as Xiaoling. He didn't have many fans. Even that face of his couldn't save his haters. Qingyan, fighting being late, acting like a big shot, attacking fans. My Mr. Xia, you're amazing. Why don't you go to heaven? Xiaoling, follow me. Qingyan. Shisheng clicked on the main page to follow him. The 0 followers list immediately jumped to 1. This caused the original owner's fans to explode. Shisheng ignored the @s and comments that popped up. Qingyan, come and pick me up. Xiaoling, no. Qingyan, I'll kill you if you don't come. Xiaoling. Xiaoling asked for the location of her school and took a taxi here. If he really drove here, he would probably be beaten to death. Xiaoling did not know what was wrong with him. He always felt that he was unusually calm when he was with her. He pondered for a long time with a sullen face. He felt that he might be in love. His rationality told him that this was very strange and sudden. After all, no one would fall in love with a girl they had just met. However, a voice deep in his heart told him that it was not wrong. It was her. What are you thinking about? Shisheng waved his hand in front of Xiaoling's eyes. Xiaoling grabbed her hand. There was a hint of indulgence in his tone. Stop fooling around. I'm thinking about life. Chapter 809. Hidden Mission. Heavenly King of the Music Industry. Mission Character. Xiaoling Mission Objective. Make Xiaoling the Heavenly King of the Music Industry. Haha. Shisheng replied to the system coldly. I don't want to do any missions. Goodbye. Host, you will be beaten up for being so willful. The system wanted to give her a side mission, but it thought that the host didn't even want to do any hidden missions, let alone side missions. It would look for a chance to check it out. If it didn't work out, it would deduct points. She wanted to buy a space battleship. How could she not earn points? Xiaoling brought Shisheng to a private restaurant. They were probably regulars, so she brought them to a private room. After Xiaoling sat down, she took out her phone and threw it to Shisheng. What are you doing? Xiaoling put her feet on the chair beside her. There's information about the Yin family on it. Can't you help me deal with them? Other people's domineering CEOs could destroy a country in minutes. Xiaoling sneered. Do you think I'm a rich second-generation heir or a first-generation heir? Aren't you? The plot didn't mention Xiaoling's background, but she would go against the male lead in the later stages. She didn't have a good ending. Xiaoling dragged the chair to Shisheng's side and put her hand on his shoulder. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not. So do you still want to be my girlfriend? It's okay. I'll take care of you. Xiaoling's mouth twitched. She gritted her teeth and said, Who wants you to take care of me? Shisheng said seriously. Then you can take care of me. Xiaoling was silent for a moment. She took out a card from her pocket. Don't charge me too much. I can't afford it. She didn't have any source of income now. The money in the card was from his previous savings. Shisheng took the card without hesitation. Xiaoling rubbed Shisheng's head and started to order dishes. Shisheng looked at the information on Xiaoling's phone. It was similar to what she had, but there were a few things that Shisheng didn't know. Yin Shiji has 2 children outside. Although Yin Baobao is the heir on the surface, Yin Shiji is more inclined to give his assets to the children of his mistress, Xiaoling said. Cut it at the root. If Yin Baobao lost her identity as the heir, she would be nothing. Xiaoling gave Shisheng a clever look. Shisheng really wanted to undermine her. Wasn't this her usual style? This guy must have been with her for a long time and subconsciously learned it. In the past, Feng Xiai didn't have this skill. Shisheng wanted to find a way to get In Chen's song back, but she didn't have the original manuscript, so she couldn't sue him directly. Therefore, she decided to let In Chen say it himself. Shisheng secretly prepared to kidnap the male lead. There was nothing simpler than this. However, when she went there, she happened to see another group of people kidnapping In Chen. Shisheng. If she went over and said, Hey, will they kill me if I form a team to kidnap them? She definitely would. Shisheng decided to follow them. She followed the kidnappers' car out of the city and arrived at a farmhouse in the suburbs. They locked In Chen in a room and then went to another room. There were people guarding outside the room. Shisheng went around to the back of the house. There were no windows, so he couldn't get in. Shisheng looked up, took out his iron sword and flew up. He lifted the roof tiles and looked down. In Chen was lying on the ground, unconscious. Shisheng lifted some tiles and jumped down from the roof. After checking that there were no surveillance cameras in the room, he went to grab the male lead. In Chen was probably drugged, for Shisheng had to expend a lot of effort to wake him up. She first saw a baby face and then saw double. It took her a while to focus. In Chen moved and realized that he was tied up. He immediately glared at the woman squatting in front of him. Where was this place? Wasn't this the girl he saw outside the bar last time? What are you shouting for? Shisheng hit In Chen's head. Do you want the people outside to hear you? In Chen frowned and quickly calmed down. He signaled Shisheng to tear off the tape on his mouth. Shisheng tore off the tape on his mouth. You were kidnapped too? In Chen didn't shout. It was useless to shout at a time like this. No. Are you in cahoots with the kidnappers? In Chen frowned even harder. You're thinking too much. I didn't kidnap you. No, I was going to kidnap you, but someone beat me to it. So I'm here to save you. And Chun. Oh. Why did she sound so contradictory? Shisheng took out his phone and opened Weibo. What's your Weibo account? And Chun. What was she doing? Live streaming him being kidnapped? And Chun stayed silent with a cold face. Then he saw the girl opposite him take out a dagger and put it against his neck. What's your Weibo account? Was this woman crazy? And Chen's breathing was a bit unsteady. 3 seconds later, he told her his account. Password. And Chen glared at him. What do you want? Shisheng looked serious. I'm helping you post on Weibo. And Chun. Did she kidnap him just to post on Weibo? Shisheng seemed to know what Chen was thinking. He immediately defended himself. I didn't kidnap you. Don't blame me. I'm just trying to steal something. Was this how he used the word steal? And Chen quickly looked around. He didn't know where he was, nor did he know what this woman wanted to do by asking for his Weibo account and password. Go and see if he's awake. A voice suddenly sounded outside. And Chen looked at the door. The door was pushed open and the person outside looked inside. He's awake. That's strange. How did the tape come off? I'll put it back on for him. The person who spoke came in and put the tape back on in Chen. He looked around cautiously but didn't see anything. Then he looked puzzled again. And Chen looked at the girl standing behind the person with a strange expression. She was looking down at her phone, but that person didn't seem to see her. He didn't know her. He just acted as if he didn't see her. And Chen's face turned pale. Was she a human or a ghost? And Chen suddenly struggled and gestured for the person to look behind him. Shisheng looked up and gave Chen a strange smile. Don't make a fuss. We'll let you go when we get the money. There's someone behind you. The person ignored Chen and opened the door to leave. After the person left, Chen's face turned pale. Did he meet a ghost? Shisheng made sure that the person outside was far away. He squatted in front of Chen and held the phone in front of him. Read this or... Shisheng reached out and pretended to strangle Chen's neck. Chen quickly read the words on the phone. Shisheng tore off the tape again. What the hell are you? Why can't that person see you? Shisheng glared at him. You're the ghost. Read it. Hurry up. You're slandering me. How could he say that he stole the song from someone else? How could he survive in the industry? Where did you get the lyrics? My baby gave them to me. Humph, she stole them from me. And Chen's expression changed. What evidence do you have? Chapter 8:10. And Chen wasn't willing, so Shisheng gave him a good beating. In the end, Chen recited the song according to Shisheng's instructions, and was deeply remorseful. His expression was not on point, so he was beaten up. Shisheng took a video and sent it out within Chen's account. The moment the video was uploaded, it immediately attracted the attention of the fans. They were all dumbfounded when they saw what Chen said. The fans of the original owner were furious. How could he steal their goddess's song? How shameless. Don't even think about going back and retracting your confession. If you dare, I will kill you. And Chen's face darkened. Do you think they will believe you? Why not? Because your fan club is huge? Did someone clear your name? And Chen suddenly took a deep breath. I don't know about this. My baby wrote all my songs for me. Shisheng put away his phone and interrupted Chen. I will call the police for you. Don't worry. Shisheng left the room, restored the roof, and went to call the police. The police were all fooled by the host. The police followed the route Shisheng pointed out, and soon found the farmhouse. Unfortunately, the leader was Hong Dui again. He looked at the girl sitting on a pile of weeds, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Why was it her again? Hong Dui asked someone to take down Shisheng and looked at her seriously. Miss Bu. Captain Hong. Please tell me, how did you know someone was kidnapped? She was bold enough to follow the kidnappers on her own. She was not afraid of getting into trouble. Thinking about her behavior on the bus, it seemed she was not a big deal. Shisheng looked honest. Oh, I was going to kidnap him, but someone beat me to it, so I called the police. However, These words made all the police officers fall into a strange silence. This girl must be joking. Miss Bu, don't talk nonsense. Shi Sheng shrugged. It was up to her whether she believed it or not. Captain, we have found out that there are 8 of them, and they seem to have guns. Captain Hong asked someone to keep an eye on Shi Sheng and prevent him from causing trouble. Then he turned around to discuss countermeasures with the others. Shi Sheng sat in the police car and waited for about an hour. Gunshots rang out from the farmhouse and lasted for about 2 minutes. And Chen was rescued safely. 3 of the kidnappers were killed, and 5 were captured alive. And Chen was brought out. When he saw Shi Sheng, his expression darkened. He said to Hong Dui, "She's with the kidnappers." Hong Dui looked at Shi Sheng, who was still not nervous. This young lady's appearance was indeed strange, but she was the one who called the police. Who would call the police to arrest their own people? Therefore, Shi Sheng was taken back to the police station by Captain Hong. The police station had just received a call from the Yin family, saying that An Chen had been kidnapped. Not long after, Hong Dui brought An Chen back. Everyone was dumbfounded. Since when was the speed of this case so efficient? Moreover, it wasn't Hong Dui who was dispatched just now. Hong Dui was also speechless. Someone called the police in advance. How could it not be efficient? After the police interrogated the kidnappers that night, it was easy to find out that Shi Sheng was not with them. However, An Chen insisted that she was with them. An Chen's words had no evidence, so the police would definitely not believe him. Why did An Chen accuse you of being with the kidnappers? Miss Bu, please tell us honestly. Why were you in the farmhouse? Who knows if he's crazy? He said that I'm the kidnapper. Show me the evidence. The police officer. Why would he ask you if he had evidence? An Chen did not mention that Shi Sheng posted on Weibo, but the police still saw it when they investigated. The timing of the post did not match. An Chen was still tied up at that time. How could he have the time to post on Weibo? At this time, the news of An Chen stealing Chinyan's lyrics had already become a hot topic. Everyone had their own style. As long as the industry insiders did a comparison, they would be able to tell whether the song was written by Chinyan or not. Shi Sheng had already contacted industry experts. As soon as the video was posted, someone posted a comparison article with a detailed explanation. Shi Sheng also used Chinyan's account to post on Weibo, saying that the song was indeed his. He also posted a few lyrics that were not in An Chen's song. This was the complete version of Time and You. Shi Sheng found the original manuscript on the original owner's bookshelf. If it was not for the original manuscript, she would not have dared to do this. Since things had already developed to this point, it was useless for An Chen to deny it. Therefore, he now had to prove that Shi Sheng was in cahoots with the kidnappers. This video was the best proof. However, Shi Sheng did not deny that she took the video when An Chen was kidnapped. Is there a law that says that I can't go in and record a video when someone is kidnapped? The police officer. There really was no law, because no one had ever done this before. This was definitely the first. She dared to sneak in and threaten the hostage to record a video when someone was kidnapped. I admit that I hit him. At most, I'll be detained for a few days and pay some money. If you want to accuse me of kidnapping, it's impossible. The police did not know what to do about this. They invited several experts, but they could not find a suitable crime in the law. Just as Hong Dui was worried sick, someone suddenly told him more unfortunate news. Hong Dui, there's a message from the higher-ups. They want to release the hostage. Release the hostage? Yes, Hong Dui. That little girl really didn't participate in this. Even if she sneaked in and threatened to record a video, she would only be detained for a few days at most. Hong Dui's head hurt. He waved his hand. Let her go. This little girl was really strange. Shi Sheng came out of the police station and saw the car parked outside. Xiaoling rolled down the window and honked. Shi Sheng jogged into the car. You got me out. How long has it been, and you've already gotten yourself into the police station? Xiaoling snorted coldly. The police station is not enough for me to play with. Xiaoling glared at her. What's enough for you to play with? You. Xiaoling pinched her cheeks. If you get yourself into the police station again, I won't care about you anymore. Shisheng said nonchalantly. Anyway, they can't do anything to me. If they can't, I can still escape from prison. Xiaoling. Who gave this little girl the right to be so arrogant? How did you get me out? Shisheng inched closer to Xiaoling. Since this fellow isn't some rich second-generation heir or rich person, how can the police let her go? Xiaoling glanced at Shisheng. A favor. He paused. Don't mess around in the future. I can't get you out safely every time. If there's anything, tell me. I'll help you think of a way. Okay, I want to kill baby Yin. Xiaoling. He wanted to kill people for no reason. This was a lawful society. Baby Yin. The Yins were not easy to deal with. How could he help her kill baby Yin silently? Asterisk the above is pure nonsense. Please don't take it seriously. Chapter 8:11. Shisheng came home and saw Yusheng. She had been here for a long time, but this was the first time she saw Yusheng other than the time at the hospital and at home. Little Guai, you're back? Yusheng looked up from a pile of documents. Uncle, Shisheng called out softly. Yusheng was stunned. He looked at Shisheng and only reacted after a while. Little Guai, come here. Yusheng knew that the original owner of this body did not know how to speak. Therefore, when he heard Shisheng suddenly speak last time, he just felt strange. Shisheng walked to Yusheng and sat down opposite him. Uncle. Yusheng pushed away the messy documents in front of him and asked with concern. Little Guai, why do you suddenly want to talk? Shisheng smiled. People have to learn to change when they grow up. I can't stay silent for the rest of my life. Yusheng nodded and sighed. You've grown up. When he first came, he was still a child. He did not take good care of him for the past few years. When Yusheng thought of this, he suddenly felt a little guilty. Little Guai, it's good that you have grown up and have your own ideas, but you still have to tell me if there's anything. I'm your elder, so I can help you decide. Thank you, Uncle. Yusheng smiled. Go back to your room. Shisheng nodded slightly and went back to his room. He sat on the bed for a while and took out his phone to log into Weibo. The password was wrong. Shisheng looked at these words and was a little confused. She did not change the password. She had logged in before. F***CK. Someone hacked her account. Which idiot dared to hack I's account? Shisheng walked to the desk and turned on her computer. She looked at her account on the web. Her Weibo had turned into a clarification post, saying that her account had been hacked. There was even a picture attached. It was a selfie of Yin Baobao. She said that she did not tell Chen that she was actually Chen Yan, and that Chen had misunderstood. Shisheng was speechless. My Yin Baobao is amazing. She even dared to hack her account. Just as Shisheng was about to hack the account back, Yin Baobao sent her a message. Bumeng, if you don't want Yusheng's reputation to be ruined, be obedient. Shisheng read that sentence over and over again to make sure that Yin Baobao was threatening her. That was great. Shisheng's fingers danced quickly on the screen. Bring it on if you have the ability. If you dare to ruin his reputation, I dare to ruin your family. How dare you threaten I? Do you think I am that easy to threaten? It's useless to boast. You can't beat me. Bumeng, accept your fate. Whether I'm bragging or not, you'll know once you try. Shisheng put down his phone, turned on his computer, and started typing on the keyboard. The whole room was filled with the sound of typing. His phone rang from time to time. She did not take her account back. Instead, she went to the back end and deleted it for her. You want to use it, right? I'll let you use it. Therefore, when Yin Baobao discovered this situation, she was completely dumbfounded. She had just gotten the account not long ago. How could it be cancelled so quickly? The fans were also confused. They were all asking what was going on online. Yin Baobao had her own Weibo account. These people thought that Yin Baobao was Chinyan's fans and went to her Weibo to ask for an explanation. How was Yin Baobao going to explain this? Say that his account was hacked again? Shisheng had just finished the last few steps when Yusheng's angry voice suddenly came from outside the door. Xiaoling, are you done fooling around? Xiaoling? When did he come over? Shisheng opened the door and looked outside. Xiaoling was sitting on the sofa in a casual manner. Yu Sheng was standing opposite him, looking very angry. Xiaoling seemed to have sensed Shi Sheng's gaze as she turned to look in her direction. After a few seconds he turned back. I'll go. You have to go even if you don't want to. Yu Sheng roared. What did you say? I'll go. Hearing Xiaoling's agreement, Yu Sheng sighed in relief. I'm doing this for your own good. You have a good background. Why do you have to make yourself like this in the past 2 years? Xiaoling did not seem to want to listen anymore. He got up and walked out of the door. Yu Sheng shook his head and sighed. His eyes were filled with pity and helplessness. Shi Sheng took the opportunity when Yu Sheng entered the room and sneaked out. He opened the door and saw Xiaoling standing outside. He raised his eyebrows at Shi Sheng. There was a smile in his eyes as if he had expected her to come out. What did uncle say to you? An event. Xiaoling held her hand and walked downstairs. He had not participated in events for a long time, but he had to earn money now. You don't have to go if you don't want to. Xiaoling stopped and looked at the corner of the corridor. But I have to support you. He turned around and looked up at Shi Sheng, who was a level higher than her. His eyes were full of confusion. I have nothing. Will you leave me? You still have me. The corridor was silent. They looked at each other, and the voice-activated lights were turned off. In the darkness, Xiaoling felt the softness on his lips. He reached out and hugged the person who was leaning against him. He sighed and said, I must be crazy. The lingering kiss made the two of them a little confused. Xiaoling lost his balance and took a step back. The sound made the voice-activated lights turn on. The light dispelled the darkness and Xiaoling's impulse. He held Shi Sheng's waist and turned his head slightly to calm his heavy breathing. Doesn't it feel good? Xiaoling pressed Shi Sheng's head. Stop fooling around. Shi Sheng's voice seemed to be bewitching. Do you want to do it again? No. Who asked her to take the initiative? When Xiaoling calmed down, he let go of Shi Sheng and held her hand as they continued to walk downstairs. Shi Sheng held his arm. Where are we going? To drink. He needed some peace and quiet. Shi Sheng. Xiaoling drank almost every day. When she was with him, he was drinking most of the time. But she had never seen him as crazy as the first time. While Shi Sheng and Xiaoling were cultivating their relationship, the Yin family was in a mess. Yin Shiji was about to bid for a project when he found out that the other party knew their base price. Yin Shiji found out from the other party that it was his daughter who had leaked the secret. He went home in a rage and beat Yin Baobao without any explanation. He also found a lot of company information on her computer. Yin Shiji was furious. I used my money to support you and this is how you repay me? Ha! Ingrate. Yin Baobao knew that she knew the plot and was ambitious. She knew that Yin Shiji had a child outside. If she didn't plan for herself, she might not have anything in the future. But she didn't leak the secret. Dad, I didn't do it. Someone framed me. Yin Baobao suppressed the anger in her heart and defended herself with an aggrieved expression. Yin Shiji was even angrier. It wasn't you? What happened to the information on your computer? I don't know. Yin Baobao's tears fell. Dad, believe me. I really don't know what happened. My computer is at home and I don't come back often. Anyone could have gotten in. Chapter 8:12. Yin Baobao's explanation didn't make Yin Shiji's anger subside. Instead, it made him even angrier. Look at the good daughter you've brought up. Yin Shiji shouted at a woman at the door. You've done something wrong and you still don't admit it. How are you going to lead this family in the future? After saying this, Yin Shiji strode out of the room. Yin Baobao stood rooted to the ground, clutching her clothes tightly. Didn't Yin Shiji want to give the company to the mistress's child? He didn't even listen to her explanation, and directly assumed that she was the one who leaked the secret. Baobao. Mother Yin only dared to come in after Yin Shiji left. She touched Yin Baobao's face with heartache. Does it hurt? Yin Baobao's mother had a soft personality. In front of Yin Shiji, she was even more humble. Yin Baobao couldn't stand her mother's behavior. After being scolded by Yin Shiji just now, Yin Baobao was also angry. She couldn't pretend to be a good daughter anymore. It's all your fault. Yin Baobao pushed her mother away. her face full of disgust. You can't even hold on to your own husband. Bao Bao. Yin Bao Bao's mother didn't know that Yin Shiji had an affair. Of course, she knew in her heart, and didn't want to admit it. Get out! Yin Bao Bao shouted at her mother irritably. Bao Bao, don't blame your father. Get out! Yin Bao Bao's mother opened her mouth and stammered a few times, but she didn't say a word. Yin Bao Bao was angry when she saw her like this. She pushed her mother out roughly and slammed the door. Yin Bao Bao smashed many things in the room to vent her anger. Who framed her? Those two little bastards outside? It must be them. The Yin family was hers. Why should she give it to those two bastards? Before Yin Bao Bao transmigrated, it was because the mistress had entered the house and caused her mother's death. Therefore she hated the mistress very much. Yin Bao Bao rummaged through the mess and found her phone. The light on the screen reflected her slightly distorted face. The viciousness in her eyes seemed to overflow. Hello, it's me. Tie those two bastards up and bring them to me. Same old rules. How's Boomeng? Didn't you say that it would be settled soon? It's been so long. Don't tell me this. I just want results. I'll give you a few more days. Yin Bao Bao hung up the phone. She glared viciously at the void. Anyone who stood in her way would have to pay the price. At school, Shi Sheng was scrolling through the latest news. When she saw the report about the Yin family, she paused for a moment before returning to the main page and sending a message to Xiaoling. You did it? Xiaoling was doing something and only replied after a while. What? Yin family? Yes. Shi Sheng wanted to tell him that he didn't have to go through so much trouble, but he didn't want to hurt his wife too much. Shi Sheng continued to read the news. He clicked on the entertainment section and saw Xiaoling's name in red and bold. What did he do this time? On the live broadcast of Sounds of Nature, Xiaoling lost her temper and beat up the host. Shi Sheng. Live streaming, Shi Sheng searched for the video of Xiaoling hitting someone on the internet. Because it was a live broadcast, it was not edited. In the beginning, Xiaoling was very cooperative. He answered whatever the host asked. Although his answers were a little harsh, he still continued to record the show. But in the later part of the segment, when the host asked him about the group Glitter 2 years ago, Xiaoling flew into a rage on the spot. Xiaoling lowered her head and sat on the lounge chair. Yu Sheng was arguing with a few staff members. Yu Sheng's face was full of anger. I reminded you not to mention anything about glitter. You promised me, so why did you bring it up? Brother Yu, don't be angry. The host is new and doesn't know the rules. Let's not pursue this matter. The staff member comforted Yu Sheng. Although Xiaoling had countless haters under Yu Sheng, he still had many famous artists under him. When Yu Sheng heard the staff member's words, he became even angrier. Not pursue this matter? This matter is the responsibility of your production team. You still want to pursue this matter? Yes. It's our fault. That host was indeed new. When they were on the show, they had told the host not to ask about glitter. The host did not listen to the production team because of the ratings. Glitter was a taboo topic to Xiaoling. Whoever dared to mention it would be beaten up. When Shi Sheng arrived, Yu Sheng was still talking to the staff. Yu Sheng suddenly glanced at Shi Sheng and was surprised. He didn't even care about the staff. Xiao Guai, why are you here? Shi Sheng pointed at Xiaoling. I'm looking for him. Yu Sheng looked at Xiaoling, who was sitting at the back, and then at Shi Sheng. He was confused. You guys. Why did Xiao Guai suddenly come to look for Xiaoling? He's my boyfriend. Shi Sheng didn't intend to hide it. Yu Sheng was like a bolt out of the blue. After a while, he found his voice and pulled Shi Sheng to a corner. You and Xiaoling? When did it start? It's been a while. Yu Sheng felt that he had failed in his duty. He didn't even realize that Xiao Guai was in a relationship. And it was with Xiaoling. Countless words spun in his heart, but he couldn't say them out loud. He looked deeply at Shi Sheng. Take him back first and wait for me at home. Xiaoling's head was lowered the whole time. He was holding a cup of cold water in his hand. Shi Sheng reached out to take it from his hand, but he suddenly tightened his grip. The paper cup was instantly deformed by his grip and the water inside spilled out. When Xiaoling looked up, his eyes seemed to be covered with frost. It was so cold that it could freeze people. When he saw the person in front of him, he blinked. The frost in his eyes melted like spring snow and disappeared in an instant. Why are you here? Are you scared? Shisheng looked at him and took the deformed paper cup from his hand. Let's go home. The corner of Xiaoling's mouth curled up slightly. All right. When the two of them left, people pointed at Xiaoling and whispered along the way. That's him. How dare he hit the host in public when he's already in such a mess? How can there be such a bad person? I heard that he's very mean to his fans. The internet is full of his anti-fans now. During the recording today, he was so arrogant that he was late. Does he really think that he's a big star? He made so many of us wait for him. Other than his face, he has no redeeming qualities. My Shisheng was dragged down by him in the past. Otherwise, he would have been famous all over the country. I don't know who got in through the back door to get on our show. Many people like his face, right? Shisheng paused and looked at the girl who said that he got in through the back door. The girl frowned in dissatisfaction. She thought that Shisheng was Xiaoling's assistant and said rudely, "What are you looking at?" Shisheng said seriously with his baby face, "You're really good looking. Be careful when you go out. It'll be bad if you catch someone's eye." The girl was happy when she heard Shisheng's praise, but when she heard the latter part, her expression changed. What nonsense are you talking about? Shisheng continued to look serious. I see that your glabella is dark. You're going to have a bloody disaster soon. Xiaoling urged helplessly, let's go. Shisheng spread his hands and shrugged innocently. He caught up with Xiaoling and walked down the stairs with him, leaving behind a group of confused girls. Asterisk, I see that you're in luck with women recently. Ha ha ha. Vote to solve it. Hashtag ginger-flavored votes today. Hashtag the last day. The last day of 2016. That's right. It's the last day. So monthly votes. Don't keep them. Come on. Give them to me. I'll show you guys PDA. Thank you, Cherub, for spending New Year's Eve with me. You guys are still so cute in 2017. Chapter 8:13. When Yusheng returned home, he saw the two of them sitting obediently on the sofa. He glanced at the two of them and walked over with a sullen face. What's wrong with the two of you? The two of them were dating right under his nose. Hit it off. Love at first sight? Shisheng blurted out these two words. I like her. Xiaoling's answer was simple but firm. Do you think I'll let you be with her? Yusheng looked at Xiaoling and ignored Shisheng's answer. Your opinion doesn't matter. Yusheng glared at him. I'm her guardian. How can my opinion not matter? She doesn't care. Yusheng looked at Shisheng unhappily. Shisheng smiled innocently. I just want to be with her. You two brats. Yusheng was so angry that he scolded them. His chest heaved up and down quickly. He calmed down. I don't object to the two of you dating, but you, Xiaoling, don't be like this. If you want to be with Xiao Guai, show your manly side. How can you make Xiao Guai happy in the future? Xiaoling was silent for a few seconds. I know. Follow me to the study. Yusheng turned around and walked towards the study. Yusheng and Xiaoling talked about something inside. When they came out, Xiaoling did not look very good. But he agreed to whatever Yusheng said. After chasing Xiaoling out, Yusheng pulled Shisheng aside to teach her a lesson. If Yusheng did not have work, he would have taught him a lesson. When Yusheng found out about the relationship between the two, Xiaoling started to visit him openly. At first, Yusheng was against it. But when he saw that Xiaoling was more obedient with Shisheng, he handed over the supervision work to Shisheng. Yusheng wanted to support Xiaoling again. Shisheng did not want to listen to Yusheng's nagging. He still had to attend the school classes obediently. Hence, Xiaoling used some method to occupy a practice room in the school. When Shisheng asked him, he said that he owed him a favor. Shisheng always felt that everyone in the world owed Xiaoling a favor. When Shisheng was in class, Xiaoling sometimes sat in with him, and sometimes waited for him in the practice room. Naturally, rumors about Shisheng and him began to spread in the school. Shisheng could hear people talking about him wherever he went. Look, it's her. She's actually with someone like Xiaoling. I don't know what she's thinking. This girl is so cute, but she doesn't speak. It's a pity that she was ruined by Xiaoling. Hey, she's looking at us. Damn, she's coming. Shisheng stood still and looked at the people who were talking. He said with a faint smile, I see that your glabella is turning black. Be careful of the calamity of the heart light. Everyone. What the hell? Why did this line sound so much like the lines of a charlatan? Shisheng left after saying that. Along the way, whenever she heard someone say that Xiaoling had gone overboard, she would go over and reprimand them. Anyway, those who had never done bad things would not be effective. If they were effective, it would only prove that they had done bad things. Therefore, Shisheng was not soft-hearted at all when attacking a group of people who asked them to badmouth her daughter-in-law. That was how protective he was. In the end, everyone in the school who Shisheng said would suffer a calamity of the heart light were all unlucky. Although it was not a big problem, it was too freaking weird that they were collectively unlucky. Shisheng wandered over to Xiaoling's practice room. There was music coming from the practice room. The tune was very nice, but Shisheng felt that it was a little strange. If it was at night, she would definitely think that she had entered the scene of a horror movie. Shisheng pushed the door open and entered. Xiaoling was sitting in front of a piano. The music was coming from under his hands. Shisheng stood there for a while. The more she listened, the more she felt that something was wrong. This tune. She took a few steps forward and pressed down on the piano keys, disrupting the strange tune. Xiaoling, what are you doing? Xiaoling looked up stiffly. You're here. Where did you learn that tune from? Xiaoling seemed to have just come back to her senses. She looked at Shisheng in confusion. What tune? You played it just now. I heard it when I was young. Xiaoling frowned. I don't know how it came out just now. That memory was very vague. But he did not know how he managed to recall it just now. It was especially clear. Shisheng sat beside her. She placed her fingertips on the piano keys and pressed on a note. Then smooth music flowed out from her fingertips. It was almost exactly the same as the tune he had played just now, but she only played a part before she stopped. Shisheng looked at Xiaoling, her soft voice spreading throughout the practice room. Music has its own spirituality. It can make a person feel good and regain a new lease on life. It can also make a person suppress their sadness. The song you played just now, if you listen to it too much, you'll lose the will to live and end up committing suicide. Xiaoling's expression changed slightly. She muttered, I see. What? Xiaoling wrapped her arms around Shisheng's waist and buried her head in his neck. I know a truth that I have been hiding for a long time. Shisheng frowned. It's okay. Ask me anything you want. Did this song cause the death of your family? Yes. It was my mother a long time ago. Xiaoling's voice was a little low. I always felt that her suicide was very abrupt. She would listen to this tune repeatedly. But I was too young at that time and could not remember much. Just now it was very strange. It was as if I had returned to my childhood and heard this tune clearly in my ears. Shisheng's expression darkened. Mubai. It was definitely that idiot. Could not win against her, so she started to make a move on Feng Xi. Xiaoling spoke for a long time. She had probably found someone to confide in. His background was not good. His mother was someone else's mistress. He did not have a choice in his birth. Because he was a boy, the Xia family took him and his mother back. But in the Xia family, his mother did not have a good life. When he was 5 years old, his mother committed suicide. Before she died, he remembered the tune that he always heard in his mother's room. After his mother died, his first wife had a son. He was chased out of the Xia family. Fortunately, one of his mother's servants could not bear to see him like this and sent him to a welfare home. Later, he grew up in the welfare home, until he was discovered by a talent scout, and embarked on the road to stardom. I don't know why, but I don't want to hide anything from you. Xiaoling sighed slightly. Did you drug me? Shisheng flicked his hair. To prove that my charm is boundless. She paused and her expression became serious. Don't stray too far from me in the future. Don't talk to strangers and don't follow strangers. Why are you treating me like a child? Xiaoling's mouth twitched. Shisheng said with a serious face. Because I think there's an idiot who wants to scheme against me. Xiaoling. Shisheng took some time to check the surveillance cameras near the practice room. However, he did not see any strange people. Mubai could crack her patch, which meant that he was on par with her in terms of skills. If he really did it, he would not have left any traces for her to investigate. Chapter 8:14. The matter of Chen stealing songs was getting more and more serious. Chunyan and Yin Baobao were involved as well. Just when everyone was confused, a voice suddenly rang out. Xiaoling released a single, Time and You. The release of this single stunned many people. They were familiar with the lyrics, but the tune was completely different from what they had heard before. It was more ethereal and transparent, like the sound of Sanskrit from the heavens. Most importantly, there were a few lyrics that Chen had never sung before. Anyone who knew music would know that Xiaoling had sung the complete version. Many fans began to become his fans. As for the anti-fans, they still spared no effort to criticize Xiaoling, but it did not stop them from liking the song. They loved and hated it at the same time. With the help of the anti-fans, Xiaoling did not have to do any publicity. Shisheng registered a new account. After verifying it, he immediately reposted Xiaoling's Weibo. Xiaoling's follower list had been cleared, so when a VIP named the #1 fraud appeared on his follower list, the group immediately went crazy. Who was the #1 fraud? They did not know him. What the hell was verification? The #1 fraud in Hua Nation? Since when could Weibo be verified like this? Hey, is this Weibo? Someone was spreading superstitions. The group of people in school who had been scammed by Shisheng saw this Weibo and immediately thought of the cute girl who had an ambiguous relationship with Xiaoling. Her words were so accurate that no one in school dared to provoke her now. Many people even wanted to have their fortunes told by her. She had left a screenshot of the account Shisheng had previously cancelled. After registering on Weibo, she directly posted the ID information of that account and the ID information of this account on Weibo. Coupled with some screenshots of the original owner's interactions with others, the truth was self-evident. The artists who had signed contracts with the original owner also began to post on Weibo that the original owner's information was a girl named Bumeng. Of course, Yin Baobao could also say that she had used someone else's ID, but Yin Baobao did not have time to explain. Since Yin Baobao did not do anything, Chen and Yin Baobao naturally lost this matter. Chen disappeared for a long time. It was said that he had gone abroad to lie low. Xiaoling became popular again, but that single was not released in the new album. Even the website that he had posted before was deleted. Now it was basically impossible to find that song on the internet. Even if someone uploaded it, it would be quickly censored. Such a beautiful song, but in the end they couldn't hear it. Some fans expressed their dissatisfaction and hoped that Xiaoling would release the song. Just as the fans were about to explode, Shisheng posted on Weibo. #1 Charlatan v. Time and You is not a commercial song. It belongs to a person's memory. Xiaoling sang this song just to get back the right of authorship. Even though Chen had posted that video, his fans still didn't believe it. They felt that Chen had been framed. Only by presenting the song perfectly in front of them would they believe who the original author was. Xiaoling quickly reposted Shisheng's Weibo post. Her attitude towards her fans was as aggressive as ever, making them want to turn against her immediately. Although there were still irrational fans who couldn't accept it, there were also people who supported Shisheng's words. Since she wasn't in the commercial business, it was her business whether she released it or not. Xiaoling's background was not bad. Under Yu Sheng's planning, a new song was quickly released. The lyrics were tailor-made by a professional, and Xiaoling also wrote some of the lyrics herself. Shisheng? She was only good at fighting, digging holes, and acting cool. She didn't know how to do this kind of work at all. Didn't you say that you were omnipotent? The host slapped herself in the face. You have money and power, but aren't you omnipotent? I actually have no words to refute. Recently, Xiaoling had been busy with the new song. Shisheng was bored alone, so she prepared to go out and swindle people. However, as soon as she stepped out, someone wanted to kidnap her. The light in the basement was very dim, and the kidnappers were hiding in the dark. When Shisheng was about to get into the car, A few people quickly rushed forward, intending to quickly carry her into the car next to them. However, just as they approached, the girl suddenly pulled out a shiny sword from the car and pointed it at the people surrounding her. She raised her chin, puffed up her cheeks and asked fiercely, "What are you doing?" "The kidnappers." "Kidnapping." Shisheng waved the iron sword. "Do you see this sword I have? It's been consecrated. If you don't want to die, hurry up and get lost." Consecrated? Even if it looked very real, they didn't believe that such a cute girl would dare to run around with a real sword. She would be caught if she ran around with a weapon. The kidnappers looked at each other and signaled with their eyes. Two of them attracted Shisheng's attention, while the others prepared to grab Shisheng from the side. Shisheng scolded them for being idiots. There were always people who wanted to die. If she didn't satisfy them, she would be letting her sword down. Strange sounds came from the basement. Shisheng habitually stacked these people together, one on top of the other. "Host, why are you stacking them together?" The system had wanted to ask this question for a long time. It was to prevent this group of idiots from getting up and scheming against it. Look at the plot. Which one of them wasn't defeated in the end and schemed against? It was simply a trap. "Very good, I've learned another trick. Who told you to come here?" Shisheng asked the kidnapper on top of the pile. The kidnapper was very tight-lipped. No matter how Shisheng asked, he wouldn't say a word. "Hello, is this Yao Yaoling? I want to call the police. There are a few people here who want to kidnap me. Why can I still make a phone call?" "Of course I can make a phone call after I beat them up. Otherwise, why would I wait for you to save I's body? Hurry up and send someone over." The kidnappers. As the target of the kidnapping, can't you act like a normal person? Which idiot gave you the information that this girl was easy to deal with? Shisheng hung up the phone and looked at the pile of people. His tone was arrogant. "Even if you don't say it, I know who you are. Baby Ian, right? Attempted kidnapping isn't a big crime. You won't die. At most, you'll spend a few decades in prison." The sound of sirens came from afar. The kidnappers' hearts collapsed. The police officers quickly got out of the car and surrounded the kidnappers and Shisheng. When they saw a petite and cute girl and a few men who were stacked together, the police officers blushed with shame. So many grown men couldn't even defeat a little girl? When Hong Dui saw the cute girl standing next to the kidnappers, he felt terrible. He hadn't even recovered from the trauma from last time, and now it came again? "Long time no see, Captain Hong." Shisheng smiled and greeted Captain Hong. "Huh?" Hong Dui sneered. "I didn't really want to see you." He glanced at the kidnappers and took a deep breath. He tried to mentally prepare himself. "Miss Boo, you said they wanted to kidnap you?" Asterisk thanks to Hong Dui's trauma, ha 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 ha. Chapter 8:15. That's right. Didn't you see it? What did he see? All he saw was a few men stacked up like a mountain. "Sir, I want to report. I want to report." The kidnapper at the top suddenly said, "She has a weapon. She has a sword. It's in her car." Shisheng glanced at the kidnapper faintly. His eyes curved into crescents. "I see that your glabella is dark. You're in for a bloodbath." The kidnapper was dumbfounded. "Miss Boo, you can't intimidate the suspect," Hong Dui chided. "Be reasonable." "When did I intimidate him?" She only said one sentence, and that was intimidating? Hong Dui ordered his men to handcuff the kidnappers. He pointed at the car the kidnapper had pointed at. "Search it." Shisheng stood there nonchalantly. The police officers searched the car inside and out, but they did not find any weapon. The kidnappers were even more confused. They clearly saw her put the sword in the car. How could it not be there? There must be a police officer. She even threatened to kill us. "Sir, you can search the car again. There might be a hidden compartment in the car." In the end, Hong Dui got into the car himself, but he did not find anything. He glared at the kidnappers. "Take them away." Hong Dui looked at Shisheng's car, then sized up Shisheng. "Miss Boo, do you have a driver's license?" "No." Hong Dui suddenly smiled strangely. "Miss Boo, it looks like you'll have to ask your guardian to come here." "Why?" You're driving without a license. He finally had a chance to catch this wretched girl. He felt like he had been tricked. Shisheng blinked innocently. But I didn't drive. She did not drive the car on the road. Who would dare to accuse her of driving without a license? Hong Dui had forgotten about this and glared hatefully at Shisheng. Miss Bu, please. As the informant, she naturally had to go to the police station to record her statement. Shisheng had already entered the police station 3 times. When he went in, he said, I see that your glabella is dark. You're in for a bloodbath. All the police officers were speechless. Where did this superstitious girl come from? He dared to swindle in front of the police. Most of the people in the police station were upright people. Even if there were some flaws, the spirit language spell would not affect them much. Ah! A policewoman exclaimed and blew hard on her fingers. Well, at most, it would be like now being pinched by the door. After taking Shisheng's statement, the police threw him into the interrogation room. Shisheng rubbed her aching head. She had used the spirit language spell too many times, and it consumed a lot of her energy. However, she found that the more she used it, the more time she could use it again. Therefore, he had to practice more when he had nothing to do. Perhaps when she reached the highest level, she could destroy the world with a single word. The host must be dreaming again. How could such a bug exist? Outside the interrogation room, Hong Dui looked at the cute girl in the surveillance camera with a solemn expression. Captain Hong, this young lady is very strange. Just now when she said those words, those guys outside started to get unlucky. The most unlucky one is Xiao Wang from the investigation department. He was hit by a passing motorcycle when he went out. Ever since she came in, the entire police station had not been peaceful. Have you interrogated those people? We're still interrogating them, but the results should be similar to what she said. They were planning to kidnap her. But who knew that this young lady was so powerful that she got herself into trouble? The results of the interrogation of the kidnappers were far beyond the police's expectations. These people had helped to kidnap many people before, profited from it, and even killed people. This time, it was not an attempted kidnapping but a murder case. Shisheng had said that they would be in jail for decades, but now it seemed that they would not be able to escape. When Shisheng was released, it was almost 11 o'clock at night. Although Hong Dui did not like this young lady who caused trouble wherever she went, he still ordered someone to send Shisheng home. Shisheng returned home. The house was dark. She did not turn on the lights and walked directly to the bedroom. She was very sleepy now, and wanted to sleep to replenish her mental strength. The bedroom door was ajar, so she pushed it open. Strange, she had closed the door when she left. Was there a thief? It was impossible. Shisheng pushed the door open and turned on the lights. The dark room suddenly lit up. A figure was lying on the big bed, and the light shone on his tired face. Xiaoling was probably exhausted. The glaring light only made him uncomfortable for a moment. Then he buried his head under the blanket and went back to sleep. Shisheng shook his head. After washing up, he climbed into the bed and tucked Xiaoling under the blanket. The next day, Shisheng was still sleeping when he heard a rustling sound beside him. He tilted his head and narrowed his eyes to look. Xiaoling got out of bed like a thief, and Shisheng reached out to grab his clothes. Xiaoling's back stiffened. He paused for a few seconds and turned his head. His expression was a little unnatural. You're awake. What time is it? It's past 9 o'clock. Xiaoling's eyes drifted. Sleep for a while more. I have to go to the office later. How did he sleep with her last night? If Yusheng knew, he would beat him to death. Yusheng had warned him not to have sex before she graduated. Shisheng let go of him. Xiaoling heaved a sigh of relief and quickly went out. However, the moment he opened the door, he saw Yusheng and Assistant Feng sitting in the living room. Assistant Feng looked at the door behind him with a strange expression and said, Brother Yu, I'll go first. No wonder brother Yu looked so bad when he came out of Xiao Guai's room. Assistant Feng silently lit a candle for Xiaoling in his heart. Yusheng nodded with a bad expression. After Assistant Feng left, he looked at Xiaoling. I didn't do anything to her, Xiaoling explained calmly. Yusheng glanced at his clothes. It was the same set he wore yesterday. It's best that you didn't. This is your schedule. Because Xiao Ling went back on his promise with Yu Sheng, he didn't have much time to rest. If Yu Sheng caught him talking to Shi Sheng on the phone, he would have to add 2 more things to his schedule. He didn't even feel so tired when the glittering duo was famous all over the country. And Shi Sheng was still fooling around in school. If he didn't like someone, he would say, "Your glabella is dark. There will be a bloody disaster." Now almost everyone in school avoided her. This was a calamity that would result in blood if there was any disagreement. Who would dare to get too close to such a girl? Even if she was cute. It didn't change the fact that she had a crow's mouth. Junior Bumeng, Junior Bumeng. Shi Sheng stopped and turned to look at the person who called him. It was a good-looking boy. Because he ran over, his face was a little red. Junior Bumeng. The senior took a deep breath and invited her seriously. Are you interested in joining the metaphysics club? Shi Sheng rejected without thinking. No. Even an authentic master couldn't teach a half-baked person like the original host. What can you, a metaphysics club, come up with? I'm not going. The senior wasn't discouraged. He said politely, Junior, you can think about it. If you change your mind, you can come to the metaphysics club to find me. I'm not going. The senior. Don't you know that you have to be polite? Goodbye. Shi Sheng nodded slightly. He walked around the senior and continued to walk towards the school gate. The senior. Okay, Junior is still very polite. Chapter 8:16. Shi Sheng thought that his senior would give up, but he did not expect that his senior would go against her. He insisted on pulling her into the metaphysics club. In the end, Shi Sheng decided not to go to class. Only then did he have some peace. Yin Baobao failed to kidnap her last time, and she did not know what she was doing recently. There was no news at all. Shi Sheng opened the web and browsed through the recent news. The Yin family maintained a frequency of 1 incident per week. They were on the list every week, but it was not a big deal. It could not shake the Yin family's foundation. Ding, Chinese Entertainment Annual Ceremony v. Hello, is this Chunyan? Shi Sheng was a little confused when he saw the message on Weibo. He clicked on the homepage and saw that it was an official account. Number 1 Fraud v. Chinese Entertainment Annual Ceremony v. We invite you to attend this year's Chinese Entertainment Annual Ceremony. Since we don't have an address, can you provide it? Damn it. This was the big boss world. What was he going to do if he did not know anything? He failed at pretending to be cool. No. Shi Sheng directly rejected the official invitation. The officials respected Shi Sheng very much and expressed regret at his rejection. However, Shi Sheng did not want to go. Xiao Ling wanted to go. He naturally had to bring a female companion to attend such an occasion. No one in the industry dared to go with Xiao Ling, a person who would turn hostile at the slightest disagreement. Xiao Ling had a bad temper. He had been like this ever since he was in the glitter group. He almost never went with women. He attended events alone 98% of the time. The remaining 1% were the female companions that the officials arranged for him. However, he would turn hostile after a few sentences with them. He did not know how to be gentle with women at all. This kind of person was definitely asking for it. The remaining 1% were the female companions who refused to go with him. Who would want to go with a male companion who was always ready to turn hostile under the spotlight? 2 years had passed. This was probably Xiao Ling's first time attending such an event. When they saw Xiao Ling enter the venue with a cute girl who looked like an underage girl, everyone was waiting to watch a good show. However, Xiao Ling did not turn hostile from the beginning to the end. He even took special care of the girl. Who is that? Xiao Ling did not turn hostile from the moment he entered. It's amazing. Isn't there a rumor online that Xiao Ling is a couple? She's Chunyan, the one who caused a huge uproar before. Chunyan. I know her. She was the one who wrote the lyrics for Southbound. She's a very intelligent lyricist. I didn't expect her to be so young. Is she already an adult? Speaking of which, it's strange. Why isn't she writing songs for Xiao Ling? None of Xiao Ling's current songs were written by her. On the other hand, Xiao Ling's original songs were especially popular. Of course, it was only his songs that were popular. It had nothing to do with him as a person. His anti-fans were still everywhere. Everyone was looking forward to Xiaoling turning hostile, but from the beginning to the end, Xiaoling was unbelievably quiet. She did not do anything at all. Xiaoling, who didn't cause any trouble, made people feel uncomfortable. After the award ceremony, there was a cocktail party. Xiaoling, welcome back. A young man came over with a female companion with a smile on his face. Xiaoling glanced at him and sneered. No need. Xiaoling, it's been so long since that incident. You still remember it. Men shouldn't be so petty. After all, we worked together for so long. We're all in the same circle. Why do you have to be so calculative? Xiaoling's gaze turned cold inch by inch. The man paused and smiled. He looked at Shisheng beside him. Young lady, you're Chenyan? Xiaoling pulled Shisheng behind her. Cui Liangya, don't treat me like the Xiaoling from 2 years ago. Don't you dare touch my people. Cui Liangya laughed. I'm just saying hello. Xiaoling, don't be so nervous. No need. Cui Liangya shrugged helplessly. Alright then. Let's meet again next time. Shisheng popped his head out from behind Xiaoling. I see that your glabella is turning dark. You're going to have a bloody disaster. Xiaoling was speechless. Why did she say that to everyone she met? Young lady, you're really good at joking. Cui Liangya laughed good-naturedly. He turned to Xiaoling and said, Xiaoling, you have to control her. It's not good to offend people in this circle. I'll take responsibility for what she says. I don't need you to remind me. Alright, I'm being nosy. Cui Liangya left with his female companion. Cui Liangya was the third member of the glitter group. Although Xiaoling was not popular, he was good-looking and had a lot of anti-fans. He was well-received. Cui Liangya was different. He was not as good-looking as Xiaoling and his singing skills were not as good as Chen's. He was like a background character in the group. After the group disbanded, he did not appear in public much. Shisheng glanced at Xiaoling's expression. She was not looking good. She looked like she was about to fall out with him. It seemed that Xiaoling was upset about the disbandment of the glitter group. But this incident was not reported on the internet at all. They disbanded for no reason. Later on, Chen became extremely popular, and no one paid attention to the reason for the disbandment of the glitter group. They only knew that Chen had not been able to develop for such a long time because of Xiaoling. Xiaoling held Shisheng's hand and calmed the irritation in her heart. Let's go. Uncle is not here yet. Yu Sheng had said that he would come over and asked them to wait for him. We're not waiting anymore. Xiaoling held Shisheng's hand and walked out of the banquet. When they were about to walk out of the door, they suddenly heard a series of exclamations behind them. Shisheng saw a blurry image through the glass at the door. The next second, her eyes were covered by a pair of large hands. Xiaoling pressed her head into her arms. Don't look. It's dirty. Although he only saw a glimpse, Shisheng knew what it was. Someone had posted a photo of them in bed on the big screen. Xiaoling left with Shisheng. He did not let go of her until they were out of the hall. They had just stood outside when Yusheng rushed over. When he saw them standing outside, he hurriedly told them to go home, and quickly entered the banquet with assistant Feng. Xiaoling brought Shisheng home. Shisheng had already seen who the photo was on Weibo. It was an artist under Yusheng. She had just won an award, but at this time, someone exposed a photo of her in bed with a married woman. This matter quickly became a hot topic. Shisheng was engrossed in reading the news when a hand reached over and took away her phone. What's there to see? Don't look at this kind of useless news. Shisheng asked. What kind of news is useful? The latter snorted arrogantly. Get out of the car. Shisheng looked outside and said. Not going home. Bang. Damn. You're so smart, you idiot. Xiaoling was waiting for Shisheng outside the car. Seeing that she did not get out, she opened the car door and carried her out of the car. If you want me to carry you, just say it. I won't reject you. I owe this idiot. Asterisk monthly votes. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Chapter 8:17. There was no doubt that Xiaoling was at a bar. He didn't allow Shisheng to drink. After drinking a bunch of them, he successfully got drunk. Shisheng spent a lot of effort to get him home. "Let me hug you." Xiaoling held on to Shisheng and didn't let go. He pulled Shisheng into his arms and rubbed his face against Shisheng's. Xiaoling hugged Shisheng for a few minutes. He probably felt uncomfortable and let go of Shisheng. "It's hot." He tugged at his clothes but couldn't tear them apart. Xiaoling felt even hotter and called out to Shisheng pitifully, "Darling, I'm hot. What does that have to do with me?" Shisheng threw him onto the sofa and went back to the room to take a shower. "Damn it, get him back." She felt as if she had just fished him out of the water. When she came out of the shower, the living room was a mess again. Xiaoling was lying on the floor, and his clothes were torn apart, revealing his muscular chest. "Damn it, I really owe you." Shisheng scolded and went forward to drag Xiaoling into the room. When Shisheng went to the toilet to get a towel, Xiaoling had already rolled off the bed and covered his head with the blanket. This idiot wanted to go to heaven. Shisheng couldn't be bothered with him and just let him lie on the floor. Anyway, he wouldn't catch a cold in this weather. Who knew that in the middle of the night, Xiaoling would crawl out from under the bed again? Who knew where he had taken off his clothes? He sniffed the air first, probably to confirm that the human-shaped pillow could be hugged, before pulling Shisheng into his embrace. "Xiaoguai." His voice was soft. His warm breath brushed past Shisheng's ear, causing her to feel a slight numbness. He called her name again and again. She didn't know if he was awake or not, but his lips were nibbling and rubbing against her back. The next day, Xiaoling woke up with a sore back. He sat on the bed and looked at the mess in the room. There was a faint smell in the room, and his brain couldn't process what had happened. After a while, he lifted the blanket to take a look. His long eyelashes fluttered. Oh no, he had slept with Darling. Xiaoling looked vexed. He couldn't remember anything. "Xiaoguai?" Xiaoling called out tentatively. He did not hear any movement. Just as he got out of bed, the door opened. Shisheng was standing at the door in a dress. Shisheng was silent for a moment. "You're running around naked in the morning?" Xiaoling quickly shrank back onto the bed and covered her body with the blanket. "Last night." Shisheng spread out his hands and laughed gloatingly. "You forced me. My rejection had no effect. I can only satisfy you." "Xiaoling, I see that you're very satisfied." Xiaoling was a little unconvinced. How could he not remember anything? "Come here." Xiaoling beckoned Shisheng over with her finger. Shisheng leaned against the door and smiled proudly. "In your dreams." "Umph. If you don't want to come, then forget it. I'll go over." Xiaoling dragged the blanket and went straight to the door. Shisheng stepped back and held the door handle, leaving only a small gap. "Take a shower and come out quickly." Xiaoling stared blankly at the closed door. She scratched the door in a dilemma, but in the end, she obediently went to take a shower. Next time, he would definitely let her know how powerful he was. The incident of the artist's bed photos at the cocktail party had a great impact on Yusheng. Although Shisheng did not interfere, he had been paying attention to it. At this time, the media released photos of Xiaoling entering and exiting a bar with a strange woman. The article was written in a more obscure way. It was clearly implying that Xiaoling was having an affair with another woman. Before Yusheng could deal with it, he saw the #1 fraud's Weibo being pushed to the top. This was what the popular Weibo post wrote. #1 fraud v. What's wrong with I going to a bar with my boyfriend? Do you have to report the whole process of dating? If you care so much about I, why don't you buy me a house? It was unknown whether they were Xiaoling's anti-fans or the original owner's fans, but all kinds of comments flooded the screen. Luxurious grass. Paparazzi nowadays only know how to make things up. Isn't it normal for our goddess and Xiaoling to be together? Writing without knowing anything, you're simply scum of the industry. A trace of afterglow. Why don't you buy me a house +1 crow's nest? Xiaoling is not worthy of my goddess. Goddess, don't be fooled by Xiaoling. He's so evil. He hurts me over and over again. Merciless moon. Paparazzi are so annoying. They only know how to invade other people's privacy. Love returning dream. Why don't you buy me a house +2 sparse willow? Is Chunyan really together with Xiaoling? Heavy green. Didn't someone post a picture of the two of them at an event? Goddess is so cute. I'm licking the screen. Same as secluded boudoir. Xiaoling, give me back my goddess. Xiaoling's fans continued to slander him relentlessly. Shisheng's fans almost all wanted Xiaoling to not be with their goddess. The news eventually evolved into a group of people asking for a breakup. Xiao Guai, look at them. They actually want us to break up. Xiaoling sneered. Over my dead body. Who told you to have so many anti-fans? Shisheng looked up and saw Xiaoling typing with a cold smile. She immediately had a bad feeling. When she went over, Xiaoling had already sent it. Shisheng refreshed the homepage. Xiaoling's Weibo post immediately popped up. Xiaoling v. Even if everyone in the world died, I wouldn't break up. Shisheng. Shisheng watched helplessly as Xiaoling's anti-fans increased at a terrifying speed. Did this guy have all the anti-fans in the world? Xiaoling had been provoking his fans for a long time. Yusheng was already used to it. Anyway, he had so many anti-fans that it was impossible to clear his name. Yusheng decided to give Xiaoling, slander him all the way to the end. Because of Xiaoling's actions, the popularity of the previous bed photo incident actually decreased. The trending topics were all pushed up by Xiaoling's anti-fans. Hashtag Xiaoling breaks up with Chenyan. Hashtag Xiaoling. I'm going to slander you. Hashtag Xiaoling. Get out of the music industry. Hashtag Xiaoling v. Do you think I'll get out just because you want me to? You're not shameless enough. Some people commented below. What do you need to look like? Xiaoling directly posted Shisheng's photo. The anti-fans were stuffed with dog food. They were even more determined to break up the couple. Hashtag I never thought that I would be broken up one day. Hashtag. This was retribution. Shisheng did not care at all. A couple that could break up was not true love. She also did not believe that anyone could break up her and Xiaoling ever since the internet clamored for them to break up the couple. Xiaoling's daily provocation became a public display of affection. Luxuriant grass, it's 8 o'clock. Xiaoling is going to show his affection again. Let's leave first. Crow's nest. My goddess is so pitiful. She's enslaved by Xiaoling. No. I have to save my goddess. Same as secluded boudoir. Didn't you guys notice that Xiaoling's fans have increased by a lot? A trace of afterglow. They're all anti-fans. Heavy green. Ah, goddess, what do you like about Xiaoling? Other than his good looks, what else is there to redeem him? Number 1 charlatan v. Good looks are enough. Xiaoling v. Fortunately, I have such a good-looking face. Number 1 charlatan v. Good looks are enough. Asterisk the above online username came from Irmea Chiosi. Hashtag today, I'm asking for New Year's votes. Hashtag hello. 2017 hashtag I hope everyone's New Year's results will be off the charts, red packets will be full, and boyfriends will be home. Hashtag finally, I'm asking for votes. Chapter 8:18. In the past, it was always Shisheng who showed off his affection. This time, Shisheng was not used to Xiaoling's public display of affection. It was nothing much after he got used to it. Xiaoling had a few interviews recently. Yusheng kept an eye on him every day, afraid that he would cause trouble. However, Xiaoling was quite well behaved recently and did not cause any trouble. This made Yusheng look at him in a new light. After today, I'll give you a few days off. Yusheng patted Xiaoling's shoulder. Don't cause trouble. Xiaoling arrogantly raised his chin and did not answer Yusheng. Yusheng shook his head and turned to talk to the other staff. The interview soon began. The host was considered a gold medal host in the industry. He first asked Xiaoling a few irrelevant questions in a gentle manner. May I ask if Mr. Xia really has a girlfriend? The host suddenly changed the topic with a hint of gossip. Xiaoling nodded. Yes. Mr. Xia and your girlfriend seem to be very loving. How long have you been secretly dating? Does your girlfriend feel troubled because of you? Xiaoling glanced at the host indifferently. Why would she feel troubled? The host was speechless. Because your anti-fans are everywhere. Of course, the host did not dare to say this out loud. He said tactfully, as a celebrity, it's inevitable to encounter all kinds of troubles. Xiaoling suddenly snorted coldly. I won't let her have any troubles. If there's anything, come at me. What's the point of bullying a little girl? The host was speechless. F***ck. F***ck. Was he F***king provoking his fans again? Absolutely. The industry's evaluation of him was that he was constantly provoking his fans. He deserved to have so many anti-fans. The host coughed. Mr. Xia is really good to his girlfriend. I heard that your girlfriend is the lyricist Qinyan? I wonder if it's true. It's none of your business. The host was speechless. I'm hosting the show. What does it have to do with me? This is a more private question. Since Mr. Xia doesn't want to talk about it, we'll respect you. Let's move on to the next question. The host paused. I heard that Glitter Group disbanded because of you. Is that true? When the host asked this question, not only did the scene become strangely quiet, but even the people backstage quieted down. Yuxing stared in disbelief. Why was this question again? Why was this question again? Why is it this question again? Xiaoling was originally sitting casually, but after the host's question, he slowly sat up straight and his gaze fell on the host. If one were to say that Xiaoling was like a wild and untamed lion cub with a sense of laziness, then Xiaoling would be like this. At this moment, Xiaoling was like an enraged lion. His eyes were deep and the chill seeped through the air into the host's skin bit by bit. She was actually a little scared, but in the end, she gritted her teeth and quickly asked, back then, you betrayed the glittering combination and lost the opportunity to go to H country for further training. What made you do that? Can Mr. Xia tell me more? Xiaoling stood up and wanted to hit the host. He didn't care if you were a woman or a man. If you offended you, you had to be beaten up. The host did not expect Xiaoling to really hit her like this. She was so scared that her face turned pale. She screamed and ran backstage. Yuxing led his men to stop Xiaoling and scolded coldly, Xiaoling. Xiaoling stared maliciously at the host who was being protected behind him. He clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. Yuxing hurriedly asked his men to carry Xiaoling to the waiting room. The host patted her chest in fear. This Xiaoling was really like a lunatic. What's wrong with you? The director hurriedly ran over from the other side. Who told you to mention the glittering combination? The host was dumbfounded. Didn't you guys give me the script? The director was also dumbfounded. The script we prepared didn't have this problem. The director thought about it and understood. Someone had swapped the script. The director said a few words to the host and hurriedly left. The host's lips curled into a smug smile. Just as she turned around, she suddenly saw a baby face. The baby-face girl was looking at her with a smile. The host felt that this face was a little familiar, but she couldn't remember at the moment. While she was still thinking, the baby-face girl opposite her said, I see that your glabella is dark. You're going to have a bloody disaster. Crazy. The host snorted. She twisted her waist and walked towards the elevator. Shisheng pursed his lips and went to Xiaoling's waiting room. There were quite a lot of people in the waiting room. They were probably afraid that Xiaoling would make a scene. The moment Shisheng went in, Xiaoling retracted the cold aura around him and looked at him silently. Xiaoguai, when did you come over? Yusheng exclaimed in surprise before turning to look at Xiaoling. He lowered his voice and spoke to Shisheng. Tell him not to let him cause trouble. Xiaoling listened to Shisheng's words. Yusheng had a deep understanding of this. His words were basically nonsense, but Xiaoling wouldn't refute Xiaoguai's words, even if it was just one word. Honey was obedient. Yusheng led the others out and closed the door. Why are you so angry? Shisheng walked over. He reached out and brushed the stray hair in front of his forehead, revealing his good-looking eyes. Xiaoling didn't say a word and hugged Shisheng in his arms. Time passed by slowly. Xiaoling didn't know how long he had been in this position. He opened his mouth but no sound came out. In the end he closed his mouth and didn't say a word. It's okay if you don't want to say it. Shisheng patted his back. Xiaoling let go of him and lowered his head. You don't mind that I'm hiding something from you? It's not something important. Xiaoling's expression changed slightly. Then he heard her say, in my heart, it's fine as long as you're fine. Xiaoling suddenly smiled and kissed Shisheng on the cheek. Yes, you're the most important. She could always make him unable to get angry. He carried Shisheng to the sofa and sat down. 2 years ago, the group had the chance to study at a famous music academy in each country. At that time, there were 2 other groups fighting for this opportunity. During the last interview, we found that the other group had prepared the same song as us. Xiaoling paused. Because of this, we lost the chance to study. After we went back, for some reason, they blamed me for leaking the secret. Because of this, the group had all kinds of conflicts during that time. After Chen found a better career, he paid the penalty and went solo. Chen was the lead singer in the group. Was there a need for the group to continue existing when the lead singer was gone? So in the end, the group disbanded. Shisheng pinched Xiaoling's fingers. Who do you suspect leaked the secret? Xiaoling was silent for a few seconds. Cui Liangye. During that time, Cui Liangye wasn't in good spirits. He thought it was because of the group. Later, he heard Cui Liangye talking to someone on the phone. It seemed that the conversation had broken down. Cui Liangye angrily mentioned the name of their song. But at that time, Chen had already left and he didn't have any evidence. Cui Liangye was usually very tight-lipped, so he couldn't get anything out of him. It was the 2nd day of the new year. Chapter 8:19. After that, the group was in a stalemate for a while. When they could not hold on any longer, Cui Liangye left. Xiaoling did not know where he went. She saw him a few times after that, but he seemed to be doing well. Xiaoling's mouth twitched. Chen always thought that I betrayed the group. When he was in trouble, he immediately found a way out. All these years, he had intentionally or unintentionally suppressed him. When they were in the group, Xiaoling and Chen had a good relationship. They could be considered brothers. However, after this incident, Chen left without a word. He was not even willing to investigate the truth. Shisheng was silent. It was a classic case of brothers turning against each other. What's the use of having a man? I'm enough. Shisheng patted his chest domineeringly. Xiaoling laughed. Yes, you're enough. You're enough. The interview was not broadcast live, but there were so many audience members and staff present. When they were in the studio, they could control them from posting on Weibo. However, when they were outside, these people could not control themselves. Hashtag Xiaoling hit someone hashtag was trending again. At the same time, there were also hashtag the truth behind Glitter's disbandment hashtag and hashtag Xiaoling breaks up with Chenyan hashtag. Shisheng was speechless. Why was the breakup of the couple also trending? In a short period of time, Shisheng discovered that several internet celebrities had posted long Weibo posts about the truth behind Glitter's disbandment. They analyzed the cause of Glitter's disbandment from all angles. To sum it up, Glitter's disbandment was Xiaoling's fault. At that time, not many people reported this incident. The media that knew about it were suppressed, so no one reported the reason behind Glitter's disbandment. Now that the internet had exploded, the media that knew about it could not hold it in anymore. They all jumped out to expose it. Congratulations, the number of haters has increased again. Shisheng was speechless when he saw the number of haters increasing rapidly. This was definitely the fastest growing number of haters in the industry. Although they were haters, Xiaoling was practicing a new song at the side. When she heard Shisheng's words, she looked up from a pile of instruments. These people have nothing better to do. Ignore them. Shisheng put away his phone. Speaking of which, don't you think this incident is a little unusual? The host had asked very straightforwardly. How did she know about the incident? Why did she expose it at this time? Also, those marketing accounts wrote long Weibo posts in such a short period of time. There must be a conspiracy. Brother, you hasn't been doing well recently. Xiaoling did not answer Shisheng's question. Instead, she jumped onto Yusheng and said, his artists keep getting into trouble. After the previous bed photo, a few celebrities' scandals were exposed. Yusheng was extremely busy all day. Xiaoling had already given Shisheng full responsibility. Now that the glittering group from 2 years ago was exposed, Yusheng had an even bigger headache. And Chen's fans were one thing, but Xiaoling's anti-fans were also involved. It was as if they were going to blow this matter up to the heavens. It was rare that Xiaoling did not respond, which comforted Yu Sheng a little. If Xiaoling ran out to scold the fans again, he might as well commit suicide. Shi Sheng guessed that Yu Sheng was plotted against by that idiot Yin Baobao. She hid well, not daring to show her face. Instead, she secretly directed people to do things for her. But how could the Shi Sheng not be able to find her? She drove all the way out of the city to the suburbs. There was a very private villa area where Yin Baobao was hiding. Shi Sheng avoided the surveillance cameras, climbed over the wall, and found Yin Baobao's villa. She swaggered to the door and pressed the doorbell. The person who opened the door was probably a bodyguard. When he saw the person outside, he was a little surprised and quickly spoke into his earpiece. Soon, bodyguards came out of the villa one after another. Yin Baobao was standing behind the group of bodyguards. Boomeng. Yin Baobao's expression was a little strange when she saw who it was. How did you get in? Shi Sheng pushed open the tightly shut iron door. Under everyone's surprised gaze, she walked slowly into the courtyard and looked at Yin Baobao calmly. I just got in like this. That was a combination lock. The bodyguards were a little confused. They all looked at her questioningly. She didn't close the door when she came in? She closed it. Who knew that she opened it with just a push? She had already opened the door. Why did she press the doorbell just now? Was there cat biscuits? Since she came to me, don't blame me for being rude. I'll catch her. Yin Baobao snorted. Yin Baobao dared to kidnap people before. She probably even dared to kill people now. The bodyguards were very professional and quickly surrounded Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng still looked calm, but his tone was a little arrogant. If you want to catch me, you have to queue up. The number of people who wanted to kill Baobao could circle the earth a few times, let alone catch her. All the bodyguards were speechless. Was this young lady stupid? Look at her small body. They could handle her with one hand. How could she ask them to queue up? Even if she was bragging, this was not how she should brag. However, the bodyguards soon realized that this young lady was not bragging. She was telling the truth. They had never thought that such a young lady could be so powerful. Shi Sheng grabbed the head of the bodyguards. She was much shorter than the head of the bodyguards, so she dragged him in the direction of the stairs. The head of the bodyguards was very unhappy. However, there was a very sharp sword against his neck. He was forced to move along with Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng stepped on the stairs, and was immediately taller than the head of the bodyguards. The problem of height was solved. Shi Sheng looked down from above. The corners of his mouth curled up into a sinister smile. Get your men to catch her. The head of the bodyguards was speechless. This was not how things were supposed to play out. She was his employer. How could he catch his own employer? Shi Sheng continued to threaten him. If you don't catch her, I will kill you. Which is more valuable, your life or hers? Of course, his own life was more valuable. They were just ordinary bodyguards. They did not sell their lives. No matter how much money they had, it was still better than losing their lives. However, the head of the bodyguards still struggled. Murder is against the law. They were licensed bodyguards. They did not do anything illegal. Shi Sheng sneered and flicked his fringe arrogantly. I won't let the police know that I killed her. Are you stupid? The head of the bodyguards was speechless. He was not stupid. He had never met such an arrogant and confident person. Woman. Bah. Young lady. Which family taught this young lady? You're too arrogant. The police are here to talk to you. Don't waste time. Hurry up. Otherwise, I will do it. If this goes on, your head will be separated from your neck. Shi Sheng exerted a little force. The iron sword pressed against the head of the bodyguard's main artery. The head of the bodyguards could already feel the cold object on his neck. It was cutting his blood vessels. He did not want to die. The head of the bodyguards immediately waved his hand. Do as she says. Don't you dare. I paid. Yin Baobao shouted in a panic. I will give you more money. The head of the bodyguards broke down inside. No matter how much money he had to be alive to spend it. I am sorry, Miss Yin. The head of the bodyguards apologized apologetically. After that, he felt the force on his neck increase. He immediately urged the other bodyguards. Hurry up. Yin Baobao's expression changed. She turned around and ran into the villa. However, she was not as fast as the bodyguards. She was caught very quickly. Chapter 820. Yin Baobao was tied to a chair, and the bodyguards were thrown into a room in the villa by Shisheng. He pasted a talisman on the outside to prevent them from running out and causing trouble. Yin Baobao. Shisheng dragged a chair over and sat down opposite Yin Baobao. Is this fun? Yin Baobao's hair, which had been combed neatly, was now in a mess because of her struggle. She glared at Shisheng in exasperation. Bumeng, what are you trying to do? Don't be so fierce. Shisheng leaned back, leaned against the back of the chair, crossed her legs, and shook them like a hooligan. You weren't this fierce when you kidnapped me. Yin Baobao cursed inwardly. She couldn't understand how she had managed to escape. Those good-for-nothings. Yin Baobao suddenly thought of something. Her eyes narrowed and she asked in a trembling voice, Who are you? She could have transmigrated, but so could others. This Bumeng was like a completely different person from before. Shisheng smiled eerily and started to spout nonsense. I'm the author. You came into my book to do whatever you want. Do you think I'm blind? Author? How could it be, you? Yin Baobao suddenly panicked. Where was she? Why was there an author? Or was it all just a dream? Yin Baobao bit the tip of her tongue hard. The pain made her realize that this wasn't a dream. It was real. What's going on? Yin Baobao became agitated. Are you behind all this? Shisheng glanced at Yin Baobao. Are you stupid? Yin Baobao was speechless. If I could control it, I would have killed you in a matter of minutes. Why would I go through so much trouble to kidnap you? Yin Baobao's mind was in a mess. She thought that she was lucky to be able to transmigrate into the body of a rich man's daughter. Just like in those novels, she would be able to replace the original female protagonist. But the things that had happened recently were completely different from what she had imagined. And now there was an author? Shisheng ignored Yin Baobao's ugly expression and raised his chin. Do you want to die on your own, or do you want me to help you? Yin Baobao wriggled her body, trying to break free from the restraints. She didn't want to die. She had survived with great difficulty. She didn't want to die. Shisheng didn't want to talk nonsense with her. He took out his iron sword and prepared to kill her. In any case, killing the supporting female lead wouldn't cause the world to collapse. Yin Baobao started to panic and struggled even harder. Bumeng, you can't kill me. What right do you have to kill me? Don't come over, don't come over. On what basis? Just because the original owner wanted to take revenge. Wait a moment. The host seemed to want to expose Yin Baobao's actions. Oh, I forgot about that. It seems that the host still remembers the original owner's last wish. She only knows how to kill. This game is going to be ruined. Bah. This was not a game. Shisheng stopped in his tracks and rubbed his chin. He rolled his eyes and decided to expose them before killing them. Seeing Shisheng stop, Yin Baobao panted heavily as if she had just survived a disaster. However, this was not the end. She watched as the person opposite her took out a camera and set it up. Yin Baobao, I'll give you a chance. Tell me what you've done, and I'll let you die a quick death. Yin Baobao. She still wanted to die? What difference did it make whether she told him or not? Yin Baobao was brave enough to kidnap someone. She forced herself to calm down. What do you want in order for you to let me go? I'll give you money. I have money. As if I don't have money. Shisheng sneered. I won't let you go no matter what. When you hired someone to kidnap me, did you ever think of letting me go? The things Yin Baobao had done were enough to make her die over and over again. Shisheng's expression suddenly turned fierce. Fine, I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. Hurry up and tell me. Yin Baobao was so frightened by Shisheng that she trembled. She looked at the iron sword in Shisheng's hands. The sword was glinting coldly, and it was reflected in her eyes. Her entire heart turned cold. Yin Baobao didn't want to tell him, but Shisheng looked so fierce that he wanted to kill her. Yin Baobao almost cried as she told him everything she had done. From her kidnapping of Shisheng, to how she dealt with Yin Shiji's 2 illegitimate sons, And now how she dealt with Yu Sheng. Shi Sheng could even point out the things she didn't want to say. Yin Baobao was about to break down. She might as well have just died back then. Why did she have to transmigrate into this book? Yin Baobao's greatest regret was that she shouldn't have ordered someone to kill Bumeng back then. If she had killed Bumeng, none of this would have happened. She would still be the miss of the Yin family. After Shi Sheng finished recording the video, he prepared to kill her and dispose of her body. Yin Baobao was so frightened that her face turned pale. Please don't kill me. I know I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Oh, don't kill me. Who said I wanted to kill you? Yin Baobao. You just said you wanted to kill me. Murder is against the law. Shi Sheng's eyes curved into a smile. Does Feng Xi know that you're fickle? Shi Sheng sent the video to the police. After making an anonymous report, he erased all traces of Yin Baobao's presence. Yin Baobao looked at her actions and felt indescribably strange. She was destroying the evidence. Was she trying to kill her to silence her? However, Shi Sheng didn't kill Yin Baobao. After confirming that the police didn't have any evidence to arrest her, he went to the room to talk to the bodyguards. Yin Baobao waited for a long time, but he didn't come out. She tried to break free from the ropes on her body. Just as she was about to succeed, the door of the villa was violently broken open, and the police in uniform filed in. The first thing the police saw was the big words pasted on the pillar behind Yin Baobao. Punish evil and eliminate evil. Make a name for yourself. The police. What the hell was this? The police investigated the scene and found the bodyguards. The bodyguards were all tied up in the room. They didn't know what kind of magic potion they had been fed, but none of them said anything about Shi Sheng being here. Yin Baobao was the only one who insisted that she had been forced by Shi Sheng, but she didn't have any proof. But the things Shi Sheng had said in the video were traceable. Yin Baobao wouldn't be able to explain herself even if she had 10 mouths. Captain Hong, Yin Baobao insists that Bumeng forced her. From the words left at the scene, and the fact that Yin Baobao was tied up, we can infer that someone did kidnap her. Her again. Hong Dui slammed the table and shouted, "Why is she still haunting us?" The police. Hong Dui probably realized that he had lost his composure and coughed. Did you find any useful information at the scene? The police shook his head. No. This was strange. Not only were there no fingerprints at the scene, but the surveillance cameras outside also didn't capture anyone. Even the bodyguards said that they didn't know who had tied them up. They insisted that they had been tied up when they woke up. They met someone who's enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens? The police muttered. Enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens? Hong Dui didn't believe it at all. Check all the surveillance cameras in the villa area. Don't miss a single one. Hong Dui felt that this matter must have something to do with Shi Sheng. He had to find out everything. Chapter 821. When the police arrived, Shi Sheng was talking to Xiaoling about his new song. The police barged into the practice room. "Miss Bu, we meet again." Hong Dui sneered and scanned the room. "Sorry to take up some of your time, Miss Bu. We need to ask you some questions." Shi Sheng glanced at Xiaoling. Hong Dui's sharp eyes stood between the two of them, preventing them from exchanging glances. Shi Sheng pursed his lips. "Captain Hong, please." Hong Dui gestured for him to enter, and led Shi Sheng to the room next door. The other officers took Xiaoling's statement. However, there was no difference between their statements. Shi Sheng had Xiaoling as an alibi, so what could Hong Dui do? He felt that there was something wrong with Shi Sheng, but it was just his intuition. He didn't have any concrete evidence. After they left the company, a police officer advised him softly, "Hong Dui, I think we should just let this go. That person didn't do anything to baby Yin, and even helped us solve the case." Hong Dui scolded the police officer sternly. "She didn't do anything this time, but what about next time? Can you guarantee that she won't do anything next time? Our duty is to protect everyone. It's illegal for her to kidnap someone without permission. What did you guys learn in the police academy? If everyone acted like her, what would be the point of having the police?" The police officer felt ashamed after being scolded. "I'm sorry, Captain Hong." Hong Dui left in a huff. In the practice room, Xiaoling hugged Shisheng, who was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. She said in a low voice, "You're hiding it from me again. I sent you a message." Xiaoling's mouth twitched. At first glance, he thought that she was flirting with him. He only realized that she hadn't sent him a message for a long time. "Don't do this again." Xiaoling tightened her arms. "I can't lose you. You can't leave me so soon," Shisheng teased. "I didn't expect you to be so charming." Xiaoling. Xiaoling let go of Shisheng. She didn't want to talk to him anymore. How could he be so narcissistic at a time like this? He didn't know how to be romantic at all. Shisheng turned around and stopped Xiaoling, who was about to continue practicing. "Here's something for you." "What is it?" Xiaoling looked at Shisheng suspiciously. "You'll give me something?" "Don't underestimate me." Shisheng snorted and took out a box from his pocket. "Here, remember to marry me. Didn't I give myself to you long ago? It doesn't matter if you give me a few more chances." Xiaoling took the box and snorted arrogantly. "Didn't you not want it before? Now you want me to repay you with my body. Dream on." Shisheng. Oh my God. When this idiot became arrogant, he was simply going to ascend to the heavens. "You're really not going to repay me with your body?" Shisheng approached Xiaoling, a hint of a smile on her lips. Xiaoling said firmly, "No." Shisheng spread out his hands regretfully and said, "Well, you can practice in the practice room tonight. I'll go home first." Shisheng picked up his handbag and left. Xiaoling stood there dumbfounded. "Don't you know how to say more? He would have agreed if you had said more." Humph. Xiaoling looked down at the box in her hands and opened it carefully. There was a retro watch in it. The watch looked very exquisite. Under the light, there seemed to be water flowing on the surface of the watch. It reflected a luxurious light as it swayed. "Not creative," Xiaoling muttered in disdain. However, she still took it out carefully and put it on. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Shisheng left the company and met Yusheng. He had lost a lot of weight these days and looked very haggard. When he saw Shisheng, he forced a smile. "Xiaoguai," Shisheng said obediently. "Uncle." When the system saw Shisheng like this, it felt strange. She was always so obedient to the elders who cared about her. This was not her style at all. "Where's Xiaoling?" Shisheng pointed at the practice room. "It's been hard on you recently." He had been busy with other artists, so he had been taking care of Xiaoling. Most importantly, Xiaoling only listened to him. "Oh yes, your master will be coming in a few days. I've already told him about you and Xiaoling. You know how stubborn your master is. You should talk to him nicely and don't get into a conflict." The original owner's master would always come to visit her when he came to the city. This time, he must have something to do and wanted to see her. Shisheng nodded. "I know. I'll go see Xiaoling. You can go back first." Yusheng walked towards the practice room. Shisheng stood there for a while before walking towards the elevator. When he reached the elevator, it opened. However, the atmosphere inside was a little strange. A young and beautiful woman was standing slightly in front. Behind her was a man wearing a cap. His head was lowered and his face could not be seen. The woman's face was pale, and she seemed to be very scared. She kept winking at Shisheng. Shisheng took a step back and said to himself, "There seems to be something wrong with this elevator." The man quickly looked up at her and immediately pressed the button to close the door. The elevator closed and the numbers jumped down bit by bit. When it reached the second floor, the elevator suddenly stopped moving. Shisheng walked down the stairs and met Hong Dui, who had just returned. Someone had just called the police and said that there was a hijacker in the elevator. They happened to be on the same line and rushed over. Who knew that they would meet Shisheng so coincidentally? Shisheng smiled and nodded at them. His baby face was so cute that they wanted to pinch it. After Shisheng left, Hong Dui led them to the second floor. The hijacker seemed to be a fan of the woman. He was the crazy type. He had wanted to kidnap the woman, but the elevator suddenly malfunctioned, and he was trapped in the elevator. What was even more strange was that the man had claustrophobia and had completely lost his ability to attack. The police quickly got the woman and the man out. When they were recording the statement, the woman inadvertently mentioned Shisheng. Everyone in the company knew that Shisheng was Xiaoling's girlfriend. Naturally, she recognized him. She said there was something wrong with the elevator, so she didn't go up? Hong Dui stared at the woman with burning eyes. The woman nodded with a pale face. That's what she said. Hong Dui was speechless. That woman's words always worked. Shisheng was marked down by Hong Dui again. Shisheng was completely unaware. The system was educating her, saying that she always took shortcuts. This was not in line with their settings. I'm fine as long as I complete the mission. Why do you care how I complete it? Do it if you can? Shisheng was getting impatient. The system wanted to slap Shisheng to death. If it could complete the mission, why would it need you? Bah, it couldn't do it even if it could. Shisheng shook his head and said, those who achieve great things don't care about trifles. Haha, you call that not caring about trifles? You're already F** king in heaven. Asterisk system. I haven't called for my master in a long time. Master, are you okay? System master. My luck hasn't been good recently. I don't feel like talking. System. Master, are you abandoning me? System master. Don't think too much. Wait for me to win it back. I'll come to you. System. Hashtag with master's luck. I won't be able to wait for master to come online. Hashtag the system was stunned. Chapter 822. News about Yin Baobao was exposed by Shisheng, including the fact that the song she wrote for Enchun was stolen. Yin Baobao's video was also included. Yin Baobao's fans couldn't stop the scolding. When Hong Dui saw the video, he was almost 100% sure that Shisheng had something to do with it. They hadn't released the video, so no one except the people in the station could get their hands on it. But even if he knew, he couldn't do anything to Shisheng. Guesses couldn't be used as evidence. It was like watching her kill someone, but you couldn't find any evidence. What you saw was like an illusion. If Shisheng had to sum it up, it would be, I like it when you can't stand me, but you can't do anything to me. Shisheng got rid of Yin Baobao, so all that was left was to dismantle the couple. Host, you don't need to dismantle the couple. No need. No need. No need. Important things had to be said 3 times. Why does my host keep wanting to dismantle the couple? Is there any medicine that can cure it? Shisheng seemed to hear the system's cold electronic voice become ear-piercing. What kind of true love is a male and female lead that can be dismantled? Shisheng snorted. The system cried in anger. Then do you think you and Feng Xi are in true love? Can you get someone to dismantle us? I don't think so. Although the host sometimes treated Feng Xi badly, most of the time, she was considerate of him. She doted on him so much that she wouldn't suspect anything. If she wanted to know something, she would either ask or investigate. Not to mention Feng Xi. He was a henpecked husband. If the host wanted him to die, he would gladly do so. Of course, the premise was that the host had to die with him. What kind of weirdo was this? Master, come quickly. There's a pervert here. No. The answer to the question was different from the host's. As the female lead, Song Mo had been Enchen's assistant. Enchen went abroad in a hurry and didn't take Song Mo with him. So Song Mo was now an assistant to another singer. Shisheng met her at an award ceremony. As Xiaoling's official girlfriend, Shisheng could naturally attend the ceremony. Song Mo was wearing a gown and stood behind the singer with an appropriate smile on her face. Shisheng realized that he didn't need to do that at all. The atmosphere between Song Mo and the singer was very ambiguous. Are you cold? Xiaoling lowered her head slightly and asked Shisheng. When they first came in, it was a little cold, but they didn't feel it after standing inside for a while. Shisheng looked away and shook his head. I'm not cold. Xiaoling adjusted the shawl on her shoulders, and the watch on her wrist reflected a bright light. The man's expression was serious as he gently adjusted the shawl for a girl. This scene was full of pink bubbles no matter how one looked at it. Xiaoling. It's Xiaoling. Is that Xiaoling's girlfriend Bumeng? She looks so cute. Why is she named Bumeng? So Xiaoling likes this type. Xiaoling brought Shisheng to their seats after showing off their relationship. When they reached the seats arranged by the officials, Xiaoling's face suddenly darkened. Shisheng followed his gaze and saw Enchun and Cui Liangye. The two of them were talking in a low voice and the atmosphere seemed to be quite harmonious. Enchun had come back from abroad? Well, it had been so long. If Enchun hadn't come back, his market would have been occupied by a rising star. Cui Liangye saw Xiaoling first and said something to Enchun. Enchun looked over as well. He just nodded slightly as a greeting, but his eyes were a little complicated. Xiaoling Cui Liangye stood up. We can sit together again. Shisheng sized Cui Liangye up. Could this man be that idiot Mu Bai? Among the things that Yin Baobao had done, there was no mention of the disbanding of Glitter Group. Shisheng was a little uncertain. Should he try slashing him with his sword? Anyway, Mu Bai would kill himself if he couldn't beat him. He would kneel down in seconds. Just as Shisheng was thinking about the feasibility of this matter, Cui Liangye had already walked over. Xiaoling, you always bring your little girlfriend with you. We are so envious. We used to say that you were the last one to find a girlfriend, but now you are the first. Cui Liangye's attitude was very natural. Shisheng couldn't tell anything from his face. Thinking about how Mu Bai had used He Qing's body last time, it proved that he could control his emotions very well when he wasn't confident of seeing Shisheng. Was this guy not Mu Bai? Or had he leveled up? It's none of your business. Xiaoling's attitude was as cold as ever. Xiaoling Cui Liangye seemed a little helpless. Enchun and I don't blame you. Why do you have to? Xiaoling's eyes suddenly turned cold. The air around them seemed to have frozen. If it weren't for Shisheng, Xiaoling would have beaten him up. Enchun suddenly said, Liangye, he never admits wrongdoing. He was like this in the past and he is still like this now. What do you have to say to him? Xiaoling's lips curved into a cold smile. The coldness in his eyes was so cold that it could freeze a person. Cui Liangye seemed to be in a difficult position. He looked around and didn't know what to do. The people around them were looking at them, as if they were watching a good show. They pointed at them and whispered. 2 years after their disbandment, the dazzling group reunited, but the atmosphere was so strange. It seemed that the news on the internet was true. Xiaoling had really betrayed Glitter. Now more people were pointing at Xiaoling. But because of their status, they didn't say anything bad. Let's go. Xiaoling resisted the urge to beat them up. He pulled Shisheng and prepared to leave. He didn't want to participate in this kind of activity at all. He would rather stay at home with his wife. Why are you leaving? Shisheng pulled him and winked at Xiaoling. Wait for me to show off. Xiaoling frowned slightly. He didn't want to sit with these two people. Obviously, Enchun was thinking the same. He had already asked the staff to change seats. I'm sorry, Mr. N. We can't change seats now. The staff said helplessly. The seats had been arranged a long time ago. How could they change seats now? Shisheng glanced at Enchun, who looked unhappy, and led Xiaoling to the VIP seats in the first row. The staff wanted to stop them, but Shisheng looked over and called out to one of them, Master. In the VIP seats, a middle-aged man in a suit who was resting with his eyes closed slowly opened his eyes and looked towards Shisheng. Although he was a little handsome, his serious expression made people think that he was the dean of the school. Who's that? I don't know. He came with Master Yan. What did Bumeng just call him? Master? What kind of messy relationship is this? The dean? No. Master stared at Shisheng seriously for a few seconds and whispered to an old man beside him. The old man's people immediately came over to invite them over. Now no one dared to say anything. Master Yan had a lot of authority in the circle. If they offended him, they would have a hard time. ## today's chili-flavored ticket #. Go to Jiuzhou with great popularity. Get on the list in the new week. Monthly ticket. Double. Will Cherub vote? Look at my pitiful eyes. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.